Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the GamezAttack podcast, episode number 63. As I'm calling this episode, Underage Pauline. Welcome, everybody, to the GamezAttack podcast here on OldFreakyGamer.com, or if you go to OldFreakyGamer on YouTube, and got tons of videos and stuff like that. I am Mr. Mike, and this is the GamezAttack podcast. Oh, yeah. Woo!
Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real.
I just wanted to play with the soundboard a little bit. Welcome, everybody. This is, if you did not know, if you haven't heard or you haven't listened to the other 62 podcasts, this is the GamezAttack podcast, a podcast about video games and video game news in the industry that is upcoming. No, what's the term? The global passion of the people. Okay, so let's go. Let's get this started. Like I always like to talk to people about it. Sometimes I do these podcasts a little early. I'm actually doing this a bit early because I like to wait usually when I do my podcasts, now that they're weekly, and usually if they're like bi-weekly and I'm doing it every 2 weeks, then it's just what's news happens throughout the 2 weeks, right? Well, now that it's, each and every week, I am more vigilant and more, more observant onto what I am looking at for game news and stuff. And, I've been searching, I've been reading the news on the sites and stuff and crawling through the web and stuff like that, looking for some decent gaming news. And no, it's not all that positive on everything, but, finding out that, you can get a lot more news and coverage doing it weekly, I noticed. And the fact of the matter is that it is Thursday today as I'm recording this podcast. So, a few days in the past before Monday, because this will go up and out on Monday as you're watching and listening to this. There was not much more gaming news out there that at least not yet, because you never know. Friday, you got a Saturday. Usually nothing on Sunday unless it's somebody dies or something. But really, it kind of went from, there's a bit of news to not so much news, but a good amount of news to talk about. A lot of stuff, like I said, the bad meaning Microsoft. And I always hate to say that because once a company, I truly liked and loved Microsoft a lot. Call me, I am a major geek. I'm creating words all the time. I'm a geeker of Microsoft, just like I was a geeker of Google back in the day before Google turned pure evil and incarnate and decided to, instead of making it people and friendly and being the internet for the people and trying to, you can't make everybody happy, but make it so that, we are nice and not bad. They could have kept a lot of people if they didn't fuck everything over and stuff. And Sanjay Pichai didn't just F over that whole company of Google. Now Google's like, even though they're still super powerful and they still do a lot of stuff, it seems like nothing sticks over there anymore. And I'm always afraid that Microsoft will turn out to be that way, especially with the stuff that they're doing, the stupid corporate stuff that they're doing and decisions that they're making behind the scenes, and the fact that even though some parts of that company still says, we're consumer friendly and all that, I have that notion in my head, just like any other company, that they're not as consumer friendly, or they're going to be way less consumer friendly going forward down the road. Because look at even people like Amazon. We used to love Amazon. Amazon used to be the best. Get awesome, fast, cool shipping on any of our products. Used to get low-cost products, which you still can get low-cost products on Amazon. You still could get a wide variety of products on Amazon. But then, Prime was cheaper, and they kept upping it, and they upped it to a price where I'm just like, nah, it's not worth it for me anymore. Even though if I get Prime, you still get, and you get Prime Video, you still got to pay them even more money to get rid of ads on Prime Video, and it's like, oh, so why should I purchase your whole Prime membership then if I'm not even getting access to Prime Video without ads, because you would still have to pay for that. And I got a Ring subscription. If nobody knew that, I think I mentioned that once or twice in the Beyond the Beyond when I used to do other podcasts. And that's Amazon company. Ring is an Amazon company, and you would think they would have put the Ring subscription in with the Amazon Prime subscription or something, and I would have said sure. I would be like, hey, $160, $180 for Prime, and I'm getting a Ring subscription. I'm getting Prime Video without ads. I would be okay with that. I'd be like, okay, you're giving me more products, and I'm still getting the free 2-day shipping or faster, overnight shipping, whatever you can offer me. And I would be happy with that. But they started nickel and dime. They got rid of all the good stuff. They got rid of that Amazon MP3 where you got to store all your MP3s on there. I used to use the Prime Photo because that was great for backing up photos, but I stopped doing that too because, like I said, I'm not paying for Prime anymore. So, of course, I don't got Prime Video. And they scaled back, there's free storage for Prime people and stuff. If they would have had a few of that stuff in there, like I said, the Ring doorbell subscription, maybe subscription free, or I should say ad free Prime Video, and maybe gave us a bit of storage, like 5 terabytes would just be good, And people would say, "Whoa, that's still a lot of terabytes, people." But they have the Amazon server cloud network. They got Amazon cloud. They don't have to worry, or Azure cloud. Azure is Microsoft. Sorry. They got their own cloud. They get, what is it? Amazon. Oh shit. What was that called? I'll think about it sometime. But they got their own Amazon cloud service. If they would at least provided some of that stuff and they made that stuff a little bit better and made stuff a good deal, maybe even try to keep people, us gamers like me and others, happier with like dropping like, oh yeah, we'll still give you $10 off your video games or something like we used to do, even though people got, like, video game companies got mad at that. Why did they get mad at that? It's Amazon paying for that $10 per game. It's not like they're getting $10 less for each of their games, copies of their games sold. No, Amazon's actually was losing $10 per game sold, but you would still keep people like me on Prime. We would still be buying more from you guys. It would still be happy, and you would still look, even though you're a corporation and you're still there to make money and the shareholders want to make money, that Amazon would be great still. And I think the way that Microsoft's heading, and I hate to say it, I think they might be on that trajectory, even though they are like one of the older companies. Microsoft's been around way longer than any of them. They've been way longer than Google and a lot of other people. And, from back in when they first started to now, they're one of the top oldest companies, should I say, tech companies, here in the United States. And I'm sure some of you could email me and say, or text me, or not text me, but message me on my social networks and say, Mr. Mike, that's not true. There's somebody else older than them. And I'm like, okay, there's always somebody else older. And then you got like Apple, which they're never consumer first. They're more like, hey, we'll sell you and you'll buy it. That's it. But the whole notion is Microsoft saying, oh, praise to the gamer. Here's the best stuff, even though, behind the scenes, we're like getting rid of all our employees and stuff and going the way of the dodo and stuff. And it's just like, yeah. I just have this notion in my head, and I don't want to count the chickens before they're hatched, but and I'm gonna butcher his name, so excuse me for this. Satya Nadella, Satney, I think they say Satney Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. I think putting it for him, and of course all the stupid people, all the board of directors, or should I say shareholders, the stupid people, the ones that are ignorant and just bloodthirsty for just the cash, and no qualms about, oh, let's just get rid of things and stuff like that. I have worries that he and the company and the other people of the company might ruin what is or was left of Microsoft. Microsoft used to be a Windows-based company. Then they had Office, and then they made a bunch of other stuff along the way. Then they kind of dabbled in PC gaming, and then they got out of PC gaming. You remember back in the time when they had all that PC gaming stuff, and then they got out of it, and then they got back into gaming, and then after they got back into gaming, which is console gaming. Now they're like kind of, we got a bunch of gaming companies, but yet we're kind of getting not out of gaming in general, but we're getting out of maybe the hardware part of the company that is gaming, because we're trying to get out of hardware, because we used to have all this Microsoft hardware, and we're slowly cutting it away. We might still do a few things, or we'll just partner up with people, but we're kind of getting out of hardware and stuff. And it's really like, okay, as once a major console gamer, now I'm not really a console gamer unless if, there's few games out there that I can't get on PC or Xbox for PC, I should say, or Xbox PC, and I can only get it either via Steam or Xbox in general for the play on my Series X. The notion that they might eventually pass off that hardware or make sure the hardware going forward is more PC centric or PC based, which I know a lot of people that somehow don't understand PC still, or don't want to know PC, or dislike PCs and stuff. And there's people out there like that, and I'm like, but everything that most people do is on a PC. Now, sure, there's some Mac people out there, and there's very, very, very few Linux-based things out there, unless if you're talking about, like, I don't know, managing a server, or working on some kind of third, should I say, not third party, but some equipment that might have a Linux-based operating system because it's light. Otherwise, most people use Windows in everything. You even see in your bank telling machines, those machines are running a version of Windows, a core version of Windows behind the scenes. And soon, with the new Xbox software / Windows that Xbox is trying to work with the Windows team to lighten the load there and bring in a more robust Xbox centric piece for PC gaming, or should I say mostly for the handhelds first, like ROG Ally and other stuff like that. It makes me wonder if the whole notion of a console is going to still be around any longer. Now, sure, there's going to be news that I'm talking about in a little bit, and I talked about before in my last podcast that, we teamed up with AMD for more years of AMD chips and custom CPUs and stuff in our next gen Xbox and stuff, and it's going to rock because it's going to be more powerful and more of this and more of that. And I'm hearing, I think Sarah Bond said it, or I think it was a couple people that morally said it, and I'll talk more about that in a sec for the what Lisa Sue was saying over at AMD. But them all touting that, oh yeah, we're just gonna pump more power into this machine and more of this, more of that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine and dandy, but what does that mean going forward for pricing and stuff like that? That's the biggest thing, pricing. the consoles are too expensive already, and Microsoft just raised the prices of the Xbox Series X and S and stuff like that, when Sony kept mostly the prices down here, at least in America. They did raise them elsewhere in Europe and stuff, and Nintendo is a bit more expensive, but Microsoft and the whole notion of the Xbox console that once was is no longer what we were expecting. Now, like I said, to me, I welcome it. I welcome the console becoming more like a PC going forward. Like I said, not many other people like that. But you got to understand, if you do a lot of gaming, and there might be some PC games you might like, and there's might be other storefronts that you might like to own the next-gen Xbox console. Maybe the next-gen Xbox console will be formed around the same notion that this soon upcoming ROG Ally, or Xbox, what is it? ROG Xbox Ally. I'm just going to keep calling it the Xbox ROG Ally because it sounds a lot better coming off the tongue than ROG Xbox Ally. I like calling it the Xbox ROG Ally. I don't know who the fuck decided to be the namer for this thing, and I will go up to him and smack him in the face about 1 billion times, but Xbox ROG Ally, just rolls right off the fucking tongue. ROG Xbox Ally, it sounds very back to it. They're making the software. They're making all the software. They're focusing on software and video games, of course, that kind of software as well. But, for the notion of the software for the hardware, it's mostly for third-party units like the Xbox ROG Allies, the Steam Decks, which you can install a version of Windows on anyways, but this special edition of Windows is for pure handhelds. That would make that work a lot better, make the Lenovo Legions and stuff like that a lot better, and run better with a special portable version of Xbox for Windows that playing games off of will be really cool. And I cannot wait for it, but I still have this notion that, okay, Microsoft's still all in with AI and all that bullshit, all that rhetoric, all that stuff that just is meaningless to most people out there. And they even said, we're not making that much off of AI from regular consumers. There's very few people that are paying to use AI and doing tons of stuff with AI and all that stuff, because most people understand that AI and everything isn't everything. And eventually AI will be, I don't know, I'm not saying the downfall of society, but it's going to hurt a lot of things, especially, if nobody was out there creating AI, if there was no such thing as open AI or any of this other AI bullshit and stuff, and it was just pure little wire transfers of this and that and all that other stuff, I can definitely see a part of that we will get just more Windows-based PCs than your regular Xbox hardware. And like I said, that's going to piss off a few people out there, but overall, I think it might be a good way to go with the AI part of it. I think that's all a pipe dream. Now, sure, using all that stuff, using some AI to help out with frame generation and stuff like that, and help out with game preservation and stuff like that, if it can do that, and, help creatively, how you say it? Creatively, I'm butchering that word so badly, but being creative, there we go, more so using the AI to help with that stuff seems like a better notion, or a better use of the AI, or the fake AI as I like to call it, because I don't think there's anything AI or real to really talk about. But like I said, going forward, AI all this, AI all that. And yeah. What was I saying? I was saying that Microsoft should just go more heavily into keeping the Windows platform better, Office, make that better and more presentable so more people subscribe to that, and definitely make sure that Xbox is running top notch. But in the eyes of a Microsoft, in the eyes of the CEO and the board and all that, they see that, it's still time to fire more people or eventually let more people go and do it at a middle time that it's maybe before the holidays, maybe after the holidays. Who knows? It might be coming really soon. It could be next week. I am thinking as you're watching this or listening to this podcast, it could be this week or it could be, before or after July 4th, which that would suck if you got laid off from your job around the 4th of July. I know it would suck for me, but if they don't set a focus over at Microsoft, or they don't, say, hey, all this time we've been hiring, we still have too many people for a lot of our divisions, and we're still trying to downsize a little bit because we're not earning enough tax incentiveness or this or that. If they would open up and say that stuff and not just go, oh, yeah, all these people are underperforming, we're letting them go. Are they really underperforming? Are they really underperforming Microsoft? Or are they not? Now, they're letting go some engineers, they're letting go a bunch of other people, or they will, because that's what I heard. And Xbox is going to be affected by this more so. And the other thing, and this, I hope this is not true either, so take this as a grain of salt, but when we looked at we watched the last Xbox presentation, the Xbox showcase, and videos that came from the Xbox division after that from Microsoft and stuff, most notably, it was more so Sarah Bond that was being videoed in those presentations. And, it was Sarah Bond, it was other people, and you barely seen or heard from Phil Spencer. Now, that could be because he's working feverishly behind the scenes to try to get more of the shit done and more of this, these games to wrap up, or, get these games, keep them on track and stuff going forward. But I come to find that a lot of it, a lot of the stuff that I think that they would be wanting him to do, I'm thinking that maybe he's not long for this company. That's what I get the feeling of. Like, they might release him in one of these big giant layoffs like this next one, because he hasn't been seen for a while. He hasn't been talking, hasn't been heard from. Not that his reputation is bad or anything. It's just that the promises he was trying to make and try to do and try to get this console to work, it just wasn't grabbing the people. And I think the next console from Microsoft is definitely not going to grab the people, because right now, most of us have either a PlayStation 5 or PS5 Pro or Xbox Series X or S. Mostly the X. I will say less for the S version of it, but we have that still, that next-gen platform and the next-gen console. What more could they provide to us? And how much would that cost add up if they wanted to do so? Especially if Sony is going to make their own chipset or their own new console and stuff that I hear that they're talking about, and they're working on a new chipset that it's in-house and stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, Microsoft, what's going to happen next? And like I said, the notion that I am not hearing too much from Phil Spencer lately, and it's more Sarah Bond and stuff, I don't want to say anything. Like I said, this is all a grain of salt, and it might all change. It might all be different on the weekend. It might be different during the next week. This podcast could be mostly wrong when I speak about everything, because next week we'll be here when you listen to this on Monday, and some of my facts or most of my facts could be gone and wrong. Who knows? But I got the notion that I don't think Phil Spencer is long for the Xbox division of gaming. And I hate to say that. I don't want to say that, but I have that notion, that little thing on my neck going, me, talking to me in my ear, Mr. Mike. Will this last? What could Phil Spencer do? I don't know. I like him as an individual. I never met the guy. I only see him on the tube. I hear what he has to say. He's less corporate than a lot of other people. I think Sarah Bond is more corporate, even though she tries to act all casual and stuff. I know a lot of people dislike her. I don't dislike her. But it's weird, and it's interesting and weird that we're not hearing from Phil as much. And it just makes me think, because they have such high standards at Microsoft, it's very high standards. And if you're not making those numbers, you're not getting that division going good. They have let go and fired many other, leaderships within the company from many other divisions countless of times. Is Phil Spencer going to be on that chopping block? And nobody's talked about this. Nobody's ever came to any notion. They talked a lot about these layoffs. This is what I'm talking about ahead of time. I know I went back and forth with Next Gen Councils on, but this is where I was coming to, about the whole Xbox staff bracing themselves for yet more layoffs, as the Microsoft reportedly is going to set to make cuts, and reportedly set to continue on the cuts and it's going to hit the Xbox gaming division. Nobody else has come up to this or said anything about this Phil Spencer thing. So like I said, this is a grain of salt, but it's kind of interesting that we're not hearing much from the man than we are the woman. And they are like co-CEOs or something like that. She's a product manager, blah, 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 over there. And they are pretty much co-partners on the Xbox side. And I think Sarah Bond might have more leeway. And like I said, Phil Spencer, he even said himself, when he was working throughout Microsoft, when he was doing all, he started on I forgot whatever team it was, and then he was on the early Xbox team making games and getting things published and stuff, and then he rose throughout the ranks, and after Don Matrick took a big giant shit on the Xbox and Microsoft and got left or booted, I forgot which, Phil Spencer took over a dying, sinking, diseased ship that was Xbox, and he tried to steer it back into the clearing and fix it and heal it and make it all fresh and new and tidy again. And a lot of these people aren't buying it. A lot of these people are just getting PlayStations and stuff. And Microsoft kind of shot themselves in the foot for a while by not releasing some good quality games. And they put out some games, but they weren't high quality and so on and so forth. And it seemed like there was a lot of bad decisions, a lot of bad things that being made and stuff. And it's just like, it's just a little thing that's bugging me on my shoulder about that. And I don't want, like I said, I don't want to create any rumor mills or anything like that, because I have nothing is based on what I'm thinking here. This is just all my personal thoughts and what I'm seeing and hearing out there. And I hope it's not something that would turn out true, because Phil Spencer said, hey, I'll be here as long as they feel like I'm necessary and how good I am and stuff like that. He did mention numerous times that he is getting older. He is getting, he's been there a long time. And I know how they like to treat their older people by letting them go. They let a lot of senior people go individuals in the company, senior individuals in the company go and stuff. And this is a different world that we're living in. This is a world where people demand the best and the fastest, whatever, and not have to pay as much. And I'm thinking maybe Microsoft should be the ones to tone it down. Because if people are still playing on way older graphics cards on their Steam, from Steam and stuff, or what Steam is saying, that people are still playing with their 1070s or whatever it was for their NVIDIA GPUs and stuff, and their lower rated GPUs, CPUs, stuff like that. Why can't Microsoft work on something with that via software or whatnot to make their Xbox consoles work great, but still run on older hardware and stuff like that, and not try to push for a new console that, oh, it's going to be more powerful, it's going to be more memory bandwidth, it's going to be more better chipsets, and maybe we'll get I'm trying to think. Maybe we'll get this new hardware-based console, and it's going to be really good and stuff. But bigger isn't always better. More powerful isn't always better. It depends on the software that you get, the games that utilize the hardware, and making it a price-conscious decision that will help keep, the console and everything at bay. Very hard for me to talk about this because, like I said, I don't 100% worry what's going to happen to the Microsoft brand, but I also do care and kind of worry about the Xbox brand because it has been a brand that has given us a lot of happiness over the years and a lot of stuff over the years. And seeing this all not pan out and them still trying to say and try to push, oh, the next gen console is going to be more powerful and better and that and this and that. And I said this about 3-4 times already in this podcast. That's not what they should be talking about. That's not something you should be pushing out and saying, hey, I know AMD wants to because they made a deal. And that's what you guys could have did. You could have just said, hey, we made a deal with AMD. Okay. Continuing to go forward for next, any future consoles or hardware, we're going with AMD because they know what they're doing. They got some great stuff coming, and we want to utilize that technology and that partnership with AMD, and that's what AMD can say to them, and that's all they can say, and let AMD do their press conference and talk about, which I will talk about them talking about a little bit, and that'll be it. You can wash your hands of it and go. But until meantime, you got your consoles right here, right now. Maybe slash back down the price a little bit so you can be at least semi-competitive, at least for a short period of time, so you can sell more consoles. And maybe say, hey, guess what? Don't worry about your next gen consoles. These are perfectly fine. They still got all the bandwidth, memory bandwidth and stuff that we need. And, yeah. And that's a big question. But, Phil Spencer himself used to just tout in every interview he did or whatever, whoever he was talking to, he was always talking about, oh, it's all about the games. It's all about games, this, games, that, great quality games coming from these studios, games, this, games, and games. He wasn't talking about hardware all the time. He was talking about games. He wasn't talking about TV. He was talking about games. And that's what he talks about. And that's what he tries to show off and prove. But it seems like they're trying to talk and show off more so about hardware. Now, the whole notion of them talking about how the Xbox ROG Ally, as I'm going to call it, or ROG Xbox Ally, in real sense, I'm just going to keep calling the Xbox ROG Ally, talking about that piece of hardware, that is because of a partnership that they were able to utilize a lot faster than building their own handheld, and AMD, or NVIDIA, I should say, was a great partnership and a great promise for people like me that are gamers to get a slew of great games all the time, especially with Game Pass. That was what? That wasn't that more so Phil Spencer's vision to get this, create this game, Xbox Game Pass, or should I say Game Pass Ultimate, where you get PC and Xbox and all these other stuff, and to grow it, even though it's been kind of flatlining lately. But is that his fault? Is that something that's his fault, or Sarah Bond's fault, or anybody's fault at the Xbox? You know, if they're trying and they're building content, why would anybody be at fault? Why do we have to have such scrutiny at Microsoft instead of going, hey, you guys are struggling, but you are trying, and if we're still making money off of you, we still will support you, maybe even in a limited fashion, and they can try to do better the next game. Now, if it's some studio that keeps failing and failing and failing, and every time you swap in new people from the old people, and it just like, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say there. But like I said, as long as they can keep the promise of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate alive, keep getting making some great titles behind the scenes, keep showing people that you guys are still interested in these games and this gaming division and stuff, and saying, hey, even though we are going to cut back on our main console hardware, because I always feel like Microsoft might eventually get out of hardware, period, but if they're going to still keep around the Xbox itself, or like everybody else was saying, and I was saying this too in the news, if they're going to just make all these games PC-centric going forward and making all the games that are coming to the platform more PC-like, meaning it would be a lot easier to just play those games there and not have all these games, you know, go just willy-nilly. Like right now, most of you will be able to play like a bunch of other titles like Gears of War, remastered or something on the PlayStation 5, PS5 Pros and stuff. A lot of other things. Not too much on Switch. They got like maybe a couple games going to Switch right now. I'm surprised that they haven't tried to push more games onto the Switch too. Maybe they just figure they wanted to test out the waters again and make sure that the Switch 2, excuse me for the yawn, is a viable entity like the Switch 1 was. Maybe, because we didn't hear it. Because I thought they would have, after the floodgates opened and Switch 2 came out, I thought Microsoft would definitely do something about that. I don't know. I heard something going on. Is this text? No, I don't know. That's something different. Okay, so like I said, with all of me talking about all this shit for a long time and saying a bunch of nonsense that you probably think what I was saying is a bunch of nonsense, it's just me coming down to the fact that the whole Xbox division is still uncertain going forward, even though they want to show off the pretty lights and all the cool bells and whistles and talk about this and talk about the Xbox ROG Ally coming out in the future, and them working with the Windows division to make Windows a lot faster, sleeker, and put the Xbox software on top of that to make that more uniformed across the gaming centric PCs, at least mostly the handhelds going forward, and then trying to promise us more games and more of this and more of that. Yeah, I don't know. Will it happen? If they're still making money in the division, why do people get punished? Oh, because Wall Street wants more. They want better out of that division. So if they want better at the division, then they want to fire people at the division. It's a bad thing, and I feel sorry for all those devs and stuff that get laid off and stuff for pettiness and for something that was created by let's just say, by corporate egos that just want the more money instead of trying to make the business brand better. And I understand that fully because I work in a business that mostly is trying to milk more out of the business. Even though we're not doing as hot, they want to milk more out of the business and less with making the place and the business better and keeping it at a, as good as we can, work at a business. It's the same thing, except we're not laying people off. But let's get into this. Microsoft reported planning to lay off a significant number of people in its gaming business, could come as early as, like I said, next week. And I was already talking about that. So according to Bloomberg, Microsoft's plans major job cuts across the Xbox division. The Verge also commented and stated that said managers at Microsoft have been briefed about Xbox layoffs as well as wider cuts at the company. Are expected to hit sales teams in particular, which obviously, and management and stuff like that. For the gaming business, The Verge stated Microsoft plans to make the cuts ahead of the release of its next generation of consoles. Last week, Microsoft announced a partnership with AMD to power the next generation of Xbox, including the first-party future Xbox consoles. Microsoft has yet to state when it plans to launch the new devices. Well, we're pretty much thinking that the Asus ROG Ally or Xbox ROG Ally is coming out probably around, I don't know, October-ish. I'll talk more about that as well, but we will be pre-ordering that earlier, and it'll be coming out maybe October-ish. The Verge also stated that Microsoft is restructuring its Central Europe Xbox distribution, and that Xbox will cease operating in some regions. So they're even going to cease operation in some regions because they're probably not selling that much hardware and stuff, and that they're not doing so well in those regions. So why keep pumping money into those regions when you can just shut them down and let people go and go, hey, sorry, you guys didn't want to buy the console or the game, so there you go. So people at Microsoft staff who wish to remain anonymous to protect their careers stated to press that employees are bracing themselves for the layoffs and that it feels like a matter of when, not if, at the company. So a lot of them think, oh, well, I'm going to get shit canned eventually. It doesn't matter when, it just matters. It doesn't matter if, it just matters when. And that's poor. That's poor business. That's a poor business. That's bad Microsoft. Bad Microsoft. Bad Microsoft. I got to just do the bad Microsoft. Because you're not giving your people, your workers, your employees, the people that are making your products, trying to make them as best they can, you're not giving them hope or a good incentive to be able to remain at that company because you feel like, oh, they should be either doing a great job or they should be out of there. It's either do a great job, get this product to number one, or you're out of the company because you're slacking and stuff. And it's like, oh my God. Oh, and like I said, I work in a company in my business. They do the same thing. They do it differently, but they basically doing the same thing with, oh, if you're not doing this good of a job, I gotta move you out. We gotta do something or whatever. And it's like, that's not how you motivate people. If they're trying hard, if they're not just, slacking on their morals and stuff, and they are trying hard, understandably, you got to cut some fat once in a while, but Microsoft's been laying off staff nonstop since they purchased Activision Blizzard back in the day. And, they laid off originally the Activision Blizzard part of, the company, and other staff members that weren't needed because there were just extra people on top of extra people in that cog, and they didn't need all those extra people. So that made sense that they laid off the 1,900 people back in January of 2024. Yes, 2024. So that wasn't too long ago. Let's see here. And then, of course, a few months later, it closed Redfall developer Arcane Austin. And then Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks after that. So they got rid of those people because, Arcane Austin didn't. Redfall was. I played Redfall. It was a snoozer. It's still available to play, but it's a snoozer of a game. I'm sorry. They didn't do good on delivering a fun product. It was just a snoozer. And it worked. It played, but it was just really a snoozer. It was a snooze fest for Redfall. But you would think they would be able to get another chance to try to get another decent game out, but nah, they said no way. And then, like I said, the Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks also stated that, oh yeah, they're gonna close them out, and then they got, I think, bought out Tango Gameworks. Then they're part of another company or whatever, their own company or something. And they're working on stuff over there. Hopefully another Hi-Fi Rush. I think they said another Hi-Fi Rush, if I'm not too mistaken. I forget sometimes if whatever is announced, because then I'm thinking of, oh, did they announce that another Hi-Fi Rush is coming out? Maybe. But then I'm also saying, oh, there's another High on Life. But I think there might be another Hi-Fi Rush in the future. I wouldn't see why not, but definitely there's going to be another High on Life from that other studio, which is not a part of Microsoft, but Microsoft gets that and gets it on Game Pass every time. So that was in September, in September 2024, Microsoft cut a further 650 employees from its gaming business. And in May this year, Microsoft cut an eye-watering 6,000 people, or 3% of its entire workforce. And then they want to cut another bunch of people and lay off another bunch of people, layers of people over at Microsoft. And like I said, is it because of it's based on performance, or is it based on stock market and the way that the business is being run and how it's being run and how stuff is going forward in the divisions and stuff, in the whole company and stuff? Are they just doing it for shock value, or they got something going on? Now, I listen to other podcasts. I listen to a bunch of gaming podcasts. I also listen to some tech podcasts and stuff, and some pretty been around for a while people that are in the industries and stuff like that have covered tech and are always cover tech businesses and stuff on their podcast, stated that maybe this is not because of how the business is doing. Maybe this is because of how the taxes are changing, like corporate taxes are changing in the future. And I heard a notion or comment, if I will say, that they were looking into trying to save more of the budget because they're not going to get a lot of those tax or any of those tax incentives that they normally would get each and every year filing for the taxes, to get tax breaks or tax cuts or be able to write off a whole bunch of money off of R&D and all that. And a lot of that is now gone or being pushed into a 5-year window or something, or whatever they were saying. I don't know the whole term about it, but maybe this is all due to some tax stuff, and that they're like, okay, we're looking at some of our least profitable divisions and least profitable areas and see if we can cut some more fat on these areas. I think it's bad if you're going to cut like software engineers or developers or anything in a division like an Xbox division and stuff, especially if you want them to push ahead and go forward with some new ideas and try to get this whole notion of an Xbox can be anywhere and everywhere to go forward with. And you pretty much need the people to help do that. Now, I know not everybody knows how to do that, and not everybody does that, and they probably do different things, but I would hope going forward it's not going to be a clusterfuck in that we're firing this many people in the Xbox division and we're closing up another studio or two or something like that. I would hate to, my heart would sink a bit if I heard that, because that means you got less studios and less people working on what could potentially be great games, and it's in a world where it is harder or more impossible for a lot of people like that to get jobs nowadays. And it's like, these could be valuable assets to your company. These could be valuable. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Wanted to add some more light to the back here. But you're going to remove maybe some very good assets from your company that could help make some of these games and products better. But in terms of, well, we need to do what is best for our shareholders. Like I always say in my podcasts, I'm not a hater of corporations. I just don't like how corporations, what they came to be. And it's always about the shareholders. And you know what? That's why I hate corporations. That's why I hate shareholders. That's why I hate anything that involves, our company is based on the stock market and how it values this company. If they weren't a part of the stock market, or if they were less of the stock market, or if they never had been a part of the stock market, I think Microsoft might do better. Now, would they have that big surplus of cash flow going on at the company? Could have got there with doing stuff like that. But, you never know about these things. And I just really think it's all because shareholders and stockholders and all that stuff kind of fuck it up for everybody. Kind of fuck it up for the companies, kind of fuck it up for us. Because it's a multi-trillion-dollar company. Multi-trillion-dollar company. Not just in stocks, but in cash. Cash money, people. In the bank. It's got the bank. And you're telling me you got to lay off divisions of people still, lay off more, chew more fat, all this stuff because of some tax breaks and stuff you're not getting? Now, like I said, we did not hear nothing about them. They probably will never say anything about that unless if they get sued or something happens down the road where it opens up Microsoft's playbook and it shows stuff like, oh yeah, they fired all these people because of the tax incentives are gone and they wanted to save some extra money for shareholders and people going forward. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. I never liked that. That's why I like a lot of these other studios, even though they're smaller and all that, and they're into more these independent studios, and I know they take more risk, but I like how they can work on games and make some creative stuff and not worry about the corporate overlords looking over their shoulders going, ooh, is that a good game or is that not? Is that in a demographic? Is it not? Is it going to make us a lot of profit or not? No, they're making a passion projects with unique things, and if that turns out well for them and they can, make sure that product sells good, they could do great things. But I don't know. I hate the whole idea of the corporations and, like I said, how they have become. They have scaled to be bigger than ever. I'm not talking about breaking them up like they're trying to do with Google right now and try to say, well, we got to take a piece out of something out of Google and all these other companies. It's like, yeah, but you keep cutting them down, they're just going to grow right back as weeds again down the road. And it's like, it's cat and mouse game going on there. And it's like, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And that's what I feel about how all these so-called, these future potential, what should I say, pink slippers are going to be ending up in a world where nobody can find jobs, apparently. Nobody can pay bills. But yet I still see people driving around expensive cars and doing all this stuff. So it's somewhere people are making money for somehow. Unless if people are robbing banks left and right or doing something, making money offline some way that I just don't understand what they're doing. But shit. I got a feel for these people. And I hope it's not too many people. And like I said, I hope it's not people like Phil Spencer that's been there for a while, that's been putting his heart and soul and blood and sweat into the Xbox division, because it's a great division. It is like I said, been an Xbox fanboy for a long time now, since the 360 era. Because like I always said, back when it was the original Xbox, I hated that box. I still hate that box. I think it's a big looking piece of shit. You know, I know it's their first console and they were just getting into the market and stuff, but I always felt like that was a big piece of shit. I got the Dukes. I got those remade Dukes and stuff. That's cool. That's just something from the past, blast from the past that as a collector of that stuff, I just had to have. But the first consoles kind of sucked and it went away quickly. And then when the 360 came out, I always said, hey, the PS3 wasn't coming out for a while longer because of they delayed it, first off, and two, it was going to be way more expensive than we ever thought. And then I went with the 360 and I never looked back. After getting the 360, I think I only had Halo for it because I never played Halo. And I'm like, well, even though Halo isn't a 360 game back at that time, I'm still going to go ahead and play it because it seems to be like everybody's talking about Halo and they got all these other Halo games coming out. And I fell in love with Halo, and then Gears of War came out. I'm like, fuck, Gears of War, man! And so on and so forth. Then you got Ghost Recon, I played on that, and all the, what was the other games? There was a bunch of games. I'm trying to think of my list of games that I was so into when the 360 came out. I said Gears, I said Halo, I said Ghost Recon, trying to think. Like I said, I got my whole Xbox 360 catalog upstairs, so I would know what it would be. WWE games. That's right. Why did I not think about that? Back when the WWE games were still great, when there were great games and not piles of shit that 2K makes and pumps out now for the wrestling games and stuff that I don't care about. But it used to be awesome, and I just was I loved being an Xbox gamer, even though I was a Sony gamer, a PlayStation gamer before, and I still bought the PS3. Like I said, the PS3 is probably my last console that I will probably ever buy from Sony, unless if they do something magical down the road. But that's pretty much my last PlayStation console down the road. Just like how I think the Series X might be my last Xbox going forward down the road. I don't know. Unless if Microsoft if they do bring everything together, if they do eventually bring backwards compatibility, bring Xbox games like from Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Xbox Series and stuff, going forward, and I could play those all on my PC and stuff going forward, emulated or whatever they have to do for that. I think that's what would win me over, but that would also say, well, now I definitely don't need a console because I could play these on my Xbox Aces ROG Ally. I could play these on my PC. I can play them, well, what do they say, everywhere and anywhere. So that is something that I am thinking really hard of. And like I said, my prayers go out to all those people that work in those divisions anywhere Microsoft, because they said it's not just going to be Xbox still. They're going to let go other people in parts of the company and I'm talking about all the useful people. I'm not talking about the lazy corporate people or the people that don't really matter in the companies, but they made them seem like they matter because they're just, so-called bosses. And I'm hoping that Phil Spencer isn't getting like so-called the axe or anything, because like I said, it was kind of weird. There was less of him saying stuff and less of him being out there. It was more of Sarah Bond being out there, because not that she's a bad person. I like looking at her. She's good to look at and everything, but I don't know. There's something about her that it just makes me not want her to be in charge. At least not yet. Maybe down the road when Phil's like, I'm going to retire early or whatever. I think it's time for me to go, and then bring the, hand over the pedestal to Sarah Bond and stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I don't like it that they're going to let go a bunch of potential people that I would hope most of these people are just not software programmers. I hope they're not people that are just basically working hard there at the company, trying to make a living and trying to get the best products out there for Microsoft. And it's just a bunch of businessmen and women that practically don't have really anything to do in the company anymore, or their divisions and their parts of their work things is just nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I talked way too much about this, but that's what that was. I'm going to briefly pause. You will not notice this. I'm going to briefly pause and get a drink, and I'll be right back. But you won't notice this because this is a podcast that is edited, not live. Be right back. Okay, I'm back, everybody. I talked way too long about a lot of that stuff, and sorry for that. I was just trying to get some point across. I think I overshot that load right there because, shit, it's already hour in, and, shit, I got still a bunch of stuff to talk about, but that's okay. More to talk about Microsoft. The whole Meta thing. I thought, okay, so the whole Meta Quest 3 or 3S Xbox Edition, it's just because, isn't it just because Microsoft, and I don't know this for sure, I should look it up first, but my grain of salt is, does Microsoft still own a portion or a chunk of Facebook still? Are they still got stock in Facebook? Because at one point in time, Microsoft had a chunk of stock ownership in Facebook, in that company, which also has Meta and all that stuff. So they kind of owned a part of Mark Zuckerberg in the way and his company. So they've never been really competitive or anything with Facebook or anything. They never talked bad about them or whatever, but they owned a chunk of them at one point in time. I don't know if they ever sold those shares or whatever happened, but that's when I was thinking, like, oh, this whole Meta, which is Facebook, Meta, blah, 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 and then you got Xbox teaming up to make this special limited edition Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition, which has the Xbox logos and colors and stuff, and the hardware is what a lot of people are saying not as powerful as the more pro Meta devices. And if you don't know what a Meta Quest is, it's a VR headset. It's like I'm gonna use my glasses my sunglasses as a reference. It's a VR headset where you put over your face, your eyes, and then when you play your video games, there's the screens inside the glasses, and you're playing them in this big open virtual world, or it's like a bigger screen. And what I think Microsoft and them are teaming up for is just because Microsoft knows that you can play Xbox games using the Meta Quest 3 and stuff via streaming, because you don't get much memory in those devices. And of course, like I said, the Meta Quest 3S edition is going to be a lot less powerful than their more powerful Meta headsets. At least that's what they say. So it's going to be a more cheaper device. I think they said it's what, $399, if I'm not mistaken. $399.99, so $400. It's currently on sale now. Apparently what they're saying, even though it's a little pricey, all the rendering they state is done in the headset itself and doesn't require an additional hardware to function. That means you don't need to hook up the Quest to a PC to play games, but you can, if you want to tap into more power of your gaming PC. So they said you don't need to use it with a PC, but you could use it with a PC if you want to get more stuff. But basically, it's just you having a bigger screen in front of your eyes, and it comes with an Xbox controller and stuff like that, just like what Microsoft originally did with Amazon and the whole Amazon Fire Stick Xbox Edition, which you don't hear much of. I wonder if they still sell those. I wonder, because they don't ever talk about Microsoft and Amazon, Xbox on Amazon anymore with that stuff. I don't hear that, because I think those units, those little Fire Stick devices were just not powerful enough, and they were getting too hot and stuff. They were having some issues with the streaming and stuff like that for the games, but I think they might, I don't know if they fixed it or if they're still doing partnerships, but now Microsoft's doing a partnership with Meta, which, like I said, they have some back history with Meta / Facebook because they used to own a part of them via stock. This is just another way of saying, hey, we got Xbox actually everywhere, because this Meta Quest S3S Xbox edition, and of course the other Meta Quest as well, you can get the Xbox store on there and you can stream it. You can stream your games to your headset and play them, blah, 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 without a TV or a computer or anything. So, and it comes with a controller and all that stuff. So, yeah, if you want one of these headsets, these Meta 3 headsets, $400. And they also said, hey, don't even worry about how your games play on it, because you're not going to get, unlike other games where you play on your virtual headsets, if you're just playing like regular games on them and you're not getting the VR effect or anything like that, I guess it doesn't affect your eyes as much. I guess you don't get that motion sickness, but who knows? You got screens like right here on your eyes, like my sunglasses. So I don't know. I tried out VR once at my friend's house. It was okay. Felt like I just was wearing some big fat glasses with screens. Like I always said, I probably will never buy any VR anything or AR headsets or whatever, unless if you can get them to look like this. I want my VR AR headset glasses to be like this, like my sunglasses, like these other sunglasses I got here. These are my thicker sunglasses. These aren't my good, state-of-the-art, very expensive prescription sunglasses. Those are in the car. I didn't bring those out, so I wanted to wear something else so I didn't get the bright light in my eyes, and I looked cool on this podcast. But just to show it off, I wish I can get a pair of glasses like these with screens on, which, yes, I know people will let me know in the comments or in the email at oldfreakygamer@gmail.com or in my social media on X or on X Twitter or BlueSky, which is at oldfreakygamer. Yes, I know they do. There are people out there that make semi-glasses looking VR AR headsets out there. So yes, I do know and understand that there are glasses semi like that out there like this. So I do know that there are some, but it isn't made by people like Meta or Xbox or anybody like that. And like I said, I want to wear them just like glasses. Maybe you can have one little wire that can go behind me or something. I can plug it into it's a USB-C wire or something. I can plug it into a computer or monitor or whatever, or into a computer or device or something, and just have the screens pop up the video and stuff. That would be cool. I would like to see that, but I don't know. And like I said, VR is not my forte, and I would never spend $400 on a VR AR game headset like that. I know that used to be a thing, and then it kind of went away a little bit. Then, PlayStation came around, made the PSVR, and then the VR2, which is not doing so hot. And it kind of rose, and then it went down, and then people stopped. Before everybody's like, oh, VR is the biggest thing. It's going to be the thing. We're making tons of games. People are creating companies all around VR and VR headsets and games and stuff. And then all of a sudden it all went quiet, and all the extra money that was pumped in and flowing just went away. And then now there's very few people that are still doing the whole VR, AR crap and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that whole future promise of, oh, this is going to be the future with these VR goggles and stuff, that went away really quick. That was a fad. And I think AI is going to be the same way. I think people right now with all the scared people and the not scared people and stuff, they're all like, oh no, it's AI, it's going to take over the world. And then eventually it's going to be like, no, it's not that smart. It's not even real artificial intelligence. It's just some computer algorithms that are calculating what is what and coming up with a solution or something, and that's it. And It's not really consciousness. It's just computer math. A lot of computer math making your problems solved and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be a fad too. And I think people are pumping way too much time and energy and money into AI. But that's just me saying that. I don't know. I use AI for some stuff. Like these regenerative AIs for making like music. Like I made some custom music like my theme song and stuff like that. That's cool. I can make some pictures. I could take away like on that Donkey Kong and Pauline and child Pauline art that's behind me. I used what is it? Microsoft Designer. I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that. I think it's called Microsoft Designer on the web, and it has an AI background removal part of it. So when I put that picture in, it had a whole background behind, Donkey Kong and Pauline and young Pauline, and it took it away. It took the background away and made it a nice PNG ping photo where it was, all see-through and stuff. And that's all I wanted. And it correctly, well, it did 99%. There's a little bit part of Donkey Kong that you don't see that's behind me, behind the Bioshock Infinite thing. A little bit of his arm got kind of disappeared a little bit into the foot from the AI, but it did a really good job of getting rid of the background and just keeping Pauline and Donkey Kong there and recognizing that they're the main two figures in that photo. So sometimes AI could be good for stuff like that and doing video work and stuff like that. They do a good job with that, but everything else is like a clusterfuck with AI. And I don't have any damn beliefs in it whatsoever. And that's my take on that. That's my notion on that. So, yeah. All you people that say AI is the future, I say AI is going to be in the future, but it's not a reality. It's not the best thing out there. So, say what you will. Companies like Microsoft pumping too much money into the AI infrastructure, and I hear a lot of people say there's not enough of us paying to use it. So how long do you think we'll be able to have it for? I don't know. Let's see here. Talking more stuff. So this isn't gaming, but I went to the movies again. Yes, Mr. Mike, went to the movies again. I went to the movies on Tuesday when it was like the half-price Regal day. Got a large, giant popcorn. Brought in my own liquid H2O because I just did not want to drink a giant soda at that time. It was like in the morning, too. No, it was in the afternoon. Forgive me. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Or I should say later because the fucking show didn't start till 45 minutes in. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, I know, 45 minutes in. But yes, I went, or 40 minutes, excuse me. I'm reading my own writing here. It says 40 minutes, so I'm correcting myself. So I went to see Lilo Stitch when it was half-price Regal Day on Tuesday. And it was an excellent movie. Now, note, I'm not going to spoil anything. I could, because I don't really care if I spoil. I like talking about it, but if anybody that is going to see the movie or whatever, they're probably going to be pissed off at me. So I won't spoil it this time. Let's just say there's a big changes throughout the film. Things that I didn't figure out. I was like wondering, I'm like, wait, wasn't this the scene that this person or this character should have showed up in? And I'm like going forward through watching the movie, and I'm like, wait a second. So where's the bad guy? Where's that main shark bad guy? And then you find out it's somebody else that's the bad guy, and you find out, oh, they completely changed this whole ending to this movie in a way, and a lot of characters look a bit different. I think Nani's pretty still hot, even though the social worker lady played the voice of Nani. That's that Tina Strauss. I think her last name is Strauss. She was also the hottie in Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2 and stuff. She was the girlfriend. And she also did, of course, True Lies. She's the hot terrorist lady in True Lies and stuff, and she was pretty hot, her. But the new Nani, the live action Nani, she's pretty damn hot. Pretty hot young, what is she, like 21, 22 or something they said? Pretty hot. And Lilo, she's pretty good. That girl that plays Lilo, she's a great little actress. She seems like she does a good job for a very young girl. She's a pretty damn good actress. She sounds like Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. Of course, Stitch sounds like Stitch. Nani kind of sounds like Nani in a bit, so that's pretty good. David, he's different. He looks like, I think he's part of the Rock's family because he's got the Rock family crest tattooed to his arm. So yes, there's a bit of spoiler right there for you if you didn't notice. Unless if that's what most of the Hawaiian Islands tribes wear, that one tattoo. It's that one familiar arm tattoo that looks exactly like how the Rock and his cousins have on their arm. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a big Hawaiian family that lives there. I couldn't tell you that, but you probably could tell me. But otherwise, it was a great movie. The only other thing that bothered me was the one and the same character that I was talking about, sort of, but not really mentioning, alien character that became bad guy. He didn't speak. His voice wasn't what I wanted it to be. We're just going to leave it at that. Let's just say his voice would have been better if he was the same voice like in the animated series. Or in the animated movies and series. That's all I'm going to say for that. I don't know why they changed that stuff, but otherwise the movie was great, and I'll probably purchase it on Blu-ray eventually or whatnot because it was a good movie. It was heartfelt. It was really good. Like I said, they changed a lot of stuff going forward into the end a bit, but it made it really interesting. It even gave me a little bit of that's an interesting take, and that's an interesting idea. And it all ended up pretty much the same at the end for a few different things and characters missing and characters changing ways and stuff. But otherwise, it was a solid, good live action remake of an animated film, which sometimes Disney makes. And it's just like The Lion King. I think for Lilo and Stitch and The Lion King, I don't know, maybe The Jungle Book, but I don't know. Maybe The Jungle Book too. I don't know. Beauty and Beast I didn't care for. The Little Mermaid, it was okay. I wish her hair would have been a little bit not as frilly and curly. And I don't care if Ariel was black. I cared that Ariel didn't have the nice, good red hair. The sleek red hair. If they would have kept it a nice, soft, sleek red hair, I'd have been like, okay, that lady that plays Ariel in the live action Little Mermaid, fine. Let her be a black Ariel, but shit, let her have a flowing red hair. There's certain things that annoy me, and I like the flowing red hair. I don't like her curly Q hair as much, and that's the only thing I gotta comment on. But it was good. And that was after the 40 minutes because it was supposed to start at 2:20. I think 2:20, 2:50, 2:20. That movie didn't start until 3:00 fucking clock. Even though it was supposed to start, the showtime says on ticket and everything else, 2:20. And of course I got there and I'm like, well, I know there's going to be a few stupid advertisements and blah, blah, blah. So, I got there and tried to get there last minute. I still was early-ish. And I got there at 2:20, and it's like, okay, one trailer after another Disney commercial, about like 10 Disney commercials. Of course, selling you on stuff that most of us can't afford to buy. Like, I can't afford a Disney vacation. How am I supposed to afford a Disney vacation? Disney vacations cost thousands of dollars just to go to Disneyland. Or you want a hotel? Oh, that's going to be a hell of a lot more. And then they're trying to promote their fucking Disney cruise ships and stuff. And I'm like, who can afford this fucking shit? What jobs in a world where jobs are not plentiful or people aren't making enough and so on and all they were just saying that half the country's still, out of a job or whatnot, and the Gen X's and Z's and whatever they are now are saying, oh, we don't feel like working too much anymore. Oh, we are not happy. We can't work too much anymore. Oh, how are all those people going on these Disney vacations and affording all these super expensive cars because you get the car commercials as well? I'm like, who can afford that thing? You're showing this car commercial in the beginning of these movies, and it's like, I could never afford that. Or not that I couldn't afford to get it. I wouldn't want to spend that much on that vehicle. Let's just say I got a Chevy Equinox. It cost me 20 grand, give or take. I think it was less than that, but I think I had it more than that because I added some stupid insurance to it and stuff. But 20 grand, that was expensive to me. That was very expensive to me, and that's as high as I go on a vehicle. People spending more than that, and then you think about, okay, I want to go on a Disney cruise or vacation, $5, $10, something $1,000. Okay, if I'm spending that much on a Disney vacation, I'd rather just save that money and go to freaking just Florida to just relax or something, or go to Japan, which that's what I plan to do in the future. If I ever do go on a vacation, if the whole fucking system, the whole air flying border stupidness systems in other countries is okay in the near future, because who knows if we can ever travel to any of these other countries, because these other countries are something else I've been hearing. And the whole matter of flying and travel and people being jackasses and stuff on flights and all, so much bullshit. Just get to from one country to another. It's like, will I ever go to Japan? That's my goal, folks. And that's my goal in like a few years from now. I've been saying this from since what, winter or something. I'm telling some friends and people, I'm like, I might eventually save up sooner than later. I might save up after, because I'm almost done paying off a few things that I want to pay off. And then when those are paid off, I'm going to start putting some money aside to put on the side for a potential future real vacation. And I'm thinking it's going to be Japan, because I really like that country. I really want to go there. I think it's going to be a lovely time. And I don't got no goals of where to go. I just want to go there and see the sights, take in the atmosphere, take in the culture, and just have some fun. Maybe meet a geisha girl or two and something along the way. Get some of those love hotels going. I don't know. But anyhow, that's my future plan for a vacation. And then I'd probably go for 2 weeks or something, depending. If the yen is going to still be weaker than the dollar, that'll work out well for me, because then I'll have a bunch more cash, go there, have some fun, stay there for 2 weeks, come on back home, and then I could say, hey, I went on a vacation and never go anywhere again for the rest of my life. I don't know. That's how I play things. But yeah, 40 minutes for ads is ridiculous in the theater. And it makes me not really want to go to see another movie. Now, there are movies coming up, like that Jurassic World movie. I'm not caring about it. Because I'm kind of sick of Scarlett Johansson. I know men out there going, you don't like Scarlett Johansson, Mr. Mike. She's a goddess. She's a sexy film goddess, and you don't want to see her in her booty shorts on an island fighting dinosaurs. What's wrong with you? I think she's played out, folks. I think she's played out, men and women. I'm just sick of Scarlett Johansson. Let's just say that. It could have been Gal Gadot or trying to think of other female actresses out there. Shit. There used to be so many, and now it's like, do I know anybody else that's a female actress anymore? Because a lot of them retired. A lot of them don't do the same thing, or they're a lot older now and stuff. So I'm trying to think of young actresses. Like, I don't know. Who's out there still that I would recognize. I'm trying to dig into my female actress brain here. Trying to think. I was thinking Mila Kunis, but she hasn't really acted in a while in a movie. She's done some voice work probably, but and she's pretty happy with her hubby Ashton Kutcher. So I don't think she's doing too much acting. She's got a kid too, so she's more wanting to be a mom and stuff like that. Probably doing some other stuff. But who else is actresses? Sharon Stone. Thinking of Sharon Stone. No, not Mila Jovovich. Even though she still does acting. Not in too many movies. Mostly her hubby's movies. Not Sharon Stone. I'm trying to say her name. What's her name? Something Stone. What's her name? You know, Emma Stone. Emma Stone. Why not see Emma Stone in Jurassic World? The new Jurassic World. Or Emma Watson. The Emmas. Trying to think of somebody else. Who else? Fuck. It's been a while, folks. And a lot of the, people women actress-wise, it's just poof. But, yeah, I'm sick of Scarlett Johansson. How about Elizabeth Banks? Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah, Miss Scarlet Witch. Why not have her do something like that? She's got that nice accent and stuff she can do. She talks and she can do a nice accent. She can buff up a little bit and do that. Or how about Walking Dead? Lauren Cohen. Lauren Cohen? Is that her last name? Lauren Cohen. She's from The Walking Dead. She's in The Walking Dead, Dead City. Lauren Cohen. I think that's how you say her name. She would be perfect. She's badass. She could do something like that. Anybody else but Scarlett Johansson. Please, anybody else. That lady that played the ballerina in the John Wick ballerina movie. She would be better. I'm sick of Scarlett. I'm sorry, folks. I know it breaks all the laws of sexy woman physics right there, but that's just me right there in a nutshell. Shit, I would even have Rihanna be in Jurassic World. She'd be like, "Oh fuck me, that's a big dinosaur. Look at that dino dick," or something. She'd probably say. I don't know, because she's Smurfette in the Smurfs movie, so she's getting gang banged by all the little old blue men out there. So she's gonna be singing, "Ooh me, oh my, all the blue men." I don't know why I'm going off the rails here in this gaming show. I'm just trying to open up with stuff. And because, movies and games are both entertainment genre, I get into that stuff. But yeah, 40 minutes and fucking ads, people. That fucking pisses me off. And I'd rather just wait it out. Like I said, probably in the next movie, or was there another? I don't know. Probably in the next movie. I don't know, because there might be another movie in the horizon I just don't understand or know coming out or I forgot. But the next movie is probably that Avatar Fire and Ice. That will probably be, and that's December, I think. That would probably be a movie that I will probably see a couple times in the movies, because I like Cameron movies and stuff, even though he's been more woke and more anti-America than ever. I'll still go see his movies and stuff, and that's probably going to be the next movie I see, because it's like everything else is just like they're all the same. They all seem the same. At least we got video games. Not all video games are the same. They can play alike. They can sometimes have the same kind of assets or some sort of similar vibes to them, but not all video games are alike, even though studios try to make them as alike as other games as much as possible, because they just lost their whole creativity and stuff, and everybody wants to make the same old bullshit, which got to change eventually. But not all games are alike, which I like. Unlike movies, which most of them are very much alike. Let's see here. Just looking at everything else I'm looking at here and seeing if I missed anything else here. Well, let's get into the games. that I played in the past week, shall we? I think we shall.
The games that have been played in the past week.
Okay. The games that I played in the past week portion of the show, because I like to add that a little bit down the road of me talking about other stuff. Not too many things, folks. I did play like a little. I don't have it on this list here. I didn't add it to the list because I did not really play that much. I just started it up to see where I left off and how well I can play. But I did play like a smidge of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on PC, and it played well, and I did okay, and I got to play more of that because my goal is to play through and beat that game and then go play through Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and maybe try to get back to Star Wars Outlaws, and then I don't know, I got a bunch of other games I want to play, and then I want to eventually purchase Assassin's Creed Shadows, which, note, this isn't news or anything. It was in a news section of somebody's site, but to me it's not really news because they were saying that the game was on sale, but it's only on sale on the Ubisoft store for $59.99, but or $56 or whatever 99. But in actuality, everywhere else that's selling Assassin's Creed Shadows is still at its high $69.99 price point, which is kind of mind-boggling to me because usually Ubisoft games go down in price pretty quickly. It seems like Assassin's Creed Shadows is holding strong at $69.99. And I'm like, if only you can go down like $10 or something. 10 or more dollars, I'd be happy about that because then I'd purchase it. Give it to me for $49.99 or $59.99 or something like that at the most, or less than that. I will pull that ticket. I will purchase that game, and you'll get yourself a little chunk of money. I don't know. I don't know why it's not going down in price. But back to it. Yeah. Played a little bit, a smidge of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. It was okay on the PC. Like I said, I'll get back into it soon, and I'll play a bunch more of that because it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I got to get ready for the next Ninja Gaiden game. Of course, continuing my adventures in Crime Scene Cleaner as a crazy crime scene cleaner guy, having fun scrubbing and bubbling and all that, troubling and stuff. And don't quote me on this. Let me check here. I got to check my thing here. Is this what? Yes, this is going to be probably my next Let's Play as well. It is my next Let's Play. So my next Let's Play for this week after this podcast, so this Wednesday, I will be, I already have the video already recorded. I just got to edit it and put it up. But this Wednesday going up for the next Let's Play is me playing Crime Scene Cleaner. And boy, it is fun. And I still have a lot of fun with it. Now I'm in a very big place, and there's a lot of like slutty mom and daughter stuff, and the way that you can toss their corpses around and just they get in some weird sexual ways and stuff. A lot of blood, a lot of gun stuff, a lot of other stuff, and it's like, wow, people make a mess. Okay, if people make that much of a mess when they're murdering people, maybe they shouldn't be murdering people. Maybe they should try to trick these people to go in one little room and maybe murder them in the one room. Why are we making blood soaks everywhere of the whole house? Why are we blowing up half the house to kill these people? I don't know. It's these very sloppy, bad murderer types. If I'm going to go out and murder some people or a family or something, I'd be doing it in a more discreet way. I'd be sneaking in there, taking them out one by one, taking them into one part of the house or a shed or, somewhere inside the house or something to keep them in the one area and, knock them out, whatever. And then when they're all together, then kill them one by one or whatever, or all together or whatever, and just splatter their blood in the one room. Why do you got to traipse it throughout the whole house and cause so much havoc and stuff? It's beyond me. It's beyond me, folks. These crime people, these crime bosses and lords and stuff that I'm working for, they're just really sloppy. They got really sloppy people when they're doing stuff. And But hey, that's one man's problem and another man's journey to clean up. Because I know, because I do clean up in my job too. So playing this is one of my Series X games. So been having fun playing it on my Series X. But I think I'm going forward. I'm actually thinking that I might put Crime Scene Cleaner. I might install it on my ROG Ally. Because I'm like, hey, I could just play it on the go too. It's got to be just as good on the go. Because it's just one of those games. I still don't care about the main story, even though they want you to care about the main story. They want you to feel sorry for his daughter, the guy's daughter, that he is sick in the hospital or whatnot, and he's trying to do this crime scene cleaning gig just to make money to pay the medical bills and so on and so on. And it's just like, okay, whatever. Let's clean up a crime scene. Doesn't matter. No police show up or anything. That'd be an interesting thing, like a police or somebody else showed up. Oh, we heard noise before. Oh, what are you doing here? What are you doing? You're cleaning up a crime scene. Oh, that's illegal. We didn't get to look at that. Because this is all stuff that the mob and mafias want you to do behind the scenes after they kill a bunch of people. So that's that. So I'm playing a bit of Crime Scene Cleaner. Looks great. Plays great. It did freeze again when I was on a save point, but if you let it go and you don't mess with it or don't turn it off or anything, it will resume its function. I found that out because it froze on me again at the save point again in Crime Scene Cleaner on the Series X. I don't know if it does it on the PC. I'll find out when I put it on there, but it does freeze at that point sometimes in that menu. But like I said, if you give it a little bit and you let it wait, it does load back and it does continue to work and run. And I'm like, oh, phew, thank God. Because if it froze and I couldn't get it unfroze or whatever, or couldn't save, it wouldn't have saved anything and I would have lost all that progress, which I made a lot of proggies, and that proggies would have been gone and I would have been pissed for stuff like that. Saving is always a difficult task for games. Of course, continuing my adventures also in Minecraft Bedrock Edition again. I'm back into the Minecraft fold, folks. Little by little, I've been a good Minecraft player lately. I haven't been just overdoing it and just going for days and weeks and months and years playing it. I'm just gonna play it a little bit when I get a chance to. I've been doing a little bit of that. I do plan on making a Minecraft Mayhem video eventually, showing off my world, showing off that bright visuals update that we just got, the vibrant visuals update. That's what I think it's called, the vibrant visuals update, because it looks very good. It's looking really good. Sometimes the settings get all screwed up though, and I have to re-enter them in the vibrant visuals update settings of the game, and it's like, wow, why is this all screwed up? Why is that all screwed up? Don't understand it. But yeah, good times on that. Good times. Love building the blocks, love breaking blocks, and like trying to kill zombies and stuff that try to kill me when they're running up the land and trying to get me. Yeah. And it plays great on both PC and ROG Ally, which I had, and I talked about this before, I still have to do, unless if I purchase Realms, because I don't know if I'm ever going to put up a server again, I still have to do this because cloud saves seem not to work with the game anymore. I don't know what's going on with the cloud saves, but I have not been able to do cloud saves, and I'm trying to look what's coming up here. Oh, okay. That's just people email me stupid stuff. I'm like wondering, oh, somebody coming back home? No, I'm still having to use this USB to USB-C stick here that I got here to take my one save from either my PC to my ROG Ally or vice versa to my ROG Ally to my PC, so I can have my current save for my game. And that's stupid and bullshit. But the only way I don't have to do that anymore is if I, pay fucking Microsoft $5 a month, which is not much if you think about it, but pay them fucking $5 a month for Realms so I could just have my save in the cloud and I could just play it on my raw gallery or anywhere, or B, continue to use this damn flash drive, or C, keep trying to hassle myself trying to get this fucking Minecraft server to work again, which it used to, and for some reason it doesn't work, and I can't figure out why, because shit, I'm good at networking, I'm good at all that stuff, but sometimes some stuff just does not work, and it used to work very easily, the Minecraft server. I used to put it up, and it would be working, and I could play with my friends, I could play anywhere here, anywhere else out there into the world, and it's like, no, I can't do that because the server doesn't want to connect, or the certs are not working, and some other bullshit, even though everything else works, and I can't figure it out. It's beyond my technology knowledge. But maybe someday I'll get a server of my own backup. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try out my old computer again. Maybe it's the computer itself it doesn't like, but if I use the old computer, but that won't work too well because that's a Windows 10 only computer. And when that goes out of date, it'll screw up my Minecraft because it won't let me play Minecraft on and unless if it gets updated to like Windows 11 or something, which you can't. So a lot of bullshit there. I want Microsoft, I want Mojang to get off their asses, stop trying to create other things besides Minecraft, trying to make something else into Minecraft, and work on a fucking good server for people like me that just want a clean, easy server and have the software, the server software, back itself up and have it update itself without having to worry about, oh, I gotta download a new server file system and drag and drop into here and make sure all my settings are correct and blah, 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 blah. No, it should do that all for me and just have me say, oh, enter in your IP address for this computer or blah, 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 and just enter in and start doing it. I don't know. It drives me nuts. It drives me crazy nuts on how some of this shit doesn't seem to work anymore. And it's like, I got new technology. Why doesn't this stuff not work anymore? What? And I don't know if it's Mojang or Microsoft or both or Xbox. I don't know if it's them or not trying to not let people like me actually make these servers work, because you would think they would just want to promote more because this is their newer version, their Bedrock edition. You would think they would just wanted the people to get realms, which they do. And maybe they're just making it so it's not as server friendly as it used to be. I don't know. That's my thought on that. That's my only thought on that. And the final game that I played, besides Minecraft and Crime Scene Cleaner, which I mostly played, the final game here on my list is the Shapeshifting Detective, which I think I did beat it once, but I think I got to go back in a couple more times because I got to look at the achievements and stuff like that. I believe I got to go back in it a couple times and try to play the story differently. This is a FMV, full motion video. Yeah, this is a FMV, British FMV, older British FMV video game. Not that old, but old enough. Old in terms of newer video games. Where it is basically you're a detective, somebody did a murdered somebody, some woman, some cello playing girl that's a 21-year-old girl, and it happened around at a hotel or something else, and everybody's trying to figure out how it happened, and there's a lot of suspects, and you're this detective with this ability to shapeshift into another person's looks of their body, so you can just pretend to play as somebody else, and you even sound like them. I used that ability a little bit. Otherwise, I played as my main character, Sam, which is funny that they just made the main character Sam, but it's an okay game. It's not like the Poe and Monroe game that I was playing before. It is like a prequel to the Poe and Monroe game. I forgot what else. What is it? The Adventures of Poe and Monroe. Same company, the Da Vinci, whatever the company's called. They make some interesting FMV games. They make a lot of them. I wonder if they did the late shift. They might have did the late shift too. But those were like 3 FMV games that I'm like, ooh, these are good games. And I'm after the Shapeshifting Detective, after I get enough of that game, even though I beat it already and I already found the killer, but I wonder if there's what other endings are going to be like. I want to find out what those are and get my achievements and stuff. But after that, I wonder what other FMV games are out there that I might be interested in that are on Xbox and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just one of those little blasts from the past that I'm like, it's on my ROG Ally. Why don't I play this on my ROG Ally? Because I was interested. Because like I said, that Dark Knights, that's what it's called. Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe. That's what it's called. Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe. After playing that game, I'm like, oh, the Shape-Shifting Detective is the prequel to this. Oh, okay, let's see what this whole game's all about. And it's okay. It's not the best. It's okay what it does and how they do it. It was one of their earlier works, so I can basically give it a pass because it's one of their earlier works and stuff like that. But pretty much that's all I've been playing because, I haven't really been playing many games like today. Will I ever play any games today? I don't know. Maybe I'll try to play like a little something before bed, but I don't know. Maybe on the weekend more, but I also got to help some individual on Saturday move some more. So maybe Saturday might not be the day that I do any gaming that day, unless if I come back early enough. But he wants to have a bonfire at his place, so if we're gonna have a fire pit bonfire thing going on, I don't think I'm gonna be back in time to play any games. And who knows about Sunday? Sunday might be a good, nice day outside. I might be outside doing stuff, or it might be. Hopefully, it's a rainy-ish day, whatever. But we'll see. But Friday, tomorrow, as I'm recording this, which is Thursday, so tomorrow, Friday, will be my next 8 p.m. Eastern Time stream before we get into the game's news here. Yes, and it's not going to be a Game On. It's not going to be a Game On. It's going to be something totally different that I'm just like, you know what, Mr. Mike? I think it's time to go back. I think it's time to go back, Mr. Mike, to Colombia. If you have not noticed behind me, which I'm sure you have, and you're probably wondering, why has he got BioShock Infinite behind him? Well, motherfuckers, I did a little series, a little video series, which I pre-taped most of the time, and I used to put up on my older days when I used to do the Juju 2 cast videos and stuff when they used to be Juju 2 cast. And then I archived all those videos, my Juju 2 cast videos that I did via gaming and stuff. And one series that I did was called I can't even think about it because I'm so stupid. Big Daddy BioShock, the series. The BioShock Big Daddy, yes. Okay, I was tripping over my words. The Big Daddy BioShock series. That's what it was called. I played all of BioShock 1, BioShock 2, and then and this was years ago. This was like, I don't know, 3, 4. When did the new BioShock collection come out? The remastered BioShock collection come out? When that came out, like I said, I played BioShock 1, I played BioShock 2, and then I did a first episode of BioShock Infinite, and then I canned it, and I never did any more, because I think, for some reason, because I was also doing some different, I didn't have this office studio at that time. I was upstairs in a smaller room doing this stuff, mind you, with different little monitors. I didn't have all this great setup. I didn't have the stream deck here. I didn't have nice lighting and stuff like that. I didn't have this micro. I had a completely different setup, a lot less powerful computer, all that stuff. And I was like, at the time, I'm like, well, I'm about to change everything over. I think at that time, I'm gonna move downstairs. I was this office here that I have here that I fixed up and built up. It was all a different shambled bedroom and had crappy carpeting. It had a lot of stuff, a lot of work on it that I did on the walls and stuff. I remodeled this whole thing myself. No, I do this stuff myself. And I built this little studio office of mine myself. And basically, I was playing other games. Other games came out. And I'm like, okay, I'll eventually get back to Bioshock Infinite. And eventually, I just never got back to it. It was just like one day when I just didn't get back to Minecraft or another game. You know, sometimes that happens. And I never got back to it. And I'm like, even though I played and beat this game, I think I only beat it once. Because the other two I beat twice. I know for Bioshock Infinite, I think I only beat it once. No, I might beat once, because this would be the second time. The other games I played twice. Don't quote me. Don't ask me why, but I played the other games twice. But Infinite I played once, and I'm like, well, I want to play it again because I want to get all the achievements out of it. I want to go through the story, and I want to do a little series of it. So I did the first episode, canned it, like I said, never played it again. The series kept going on sale. Every time I went on sale, I'm like, oh yeah, I still got to finish up Bioshock Infinite. And I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, time's going on and on and on. And then I forgot about it for a while, and then after playing and beating Doom the Dark Ages, I'm like thinking, shit, I got a lot of games I got to play. A lot of games in my backlog. There's a lot of games. What game would be perfect to just get off of Doom the Dark Ages with to go into something? I wanted something a little more crazy, a lot of something else. I was originally thinking, because I'm like, well, I'm not going to go and play like one of my other games like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle or I wasn't going to just do Minecraft every Friday, or I wasn't going to play Star Wars Outlaws or Ninja Gaiden 2 Black or something, because those games I just want to play in the background. And Minecraft is going to be, I'm going to have its Minecraft Mining Mayhem videos and stuff, so that's just going to be that. But I'm thinking, well, what else do I got? I got that RoboCop game that was pretty cool. I got that on a sale. But then I'm thinking, do I really want to play RoboCop every Friday for people? I'm like, that's an older game. Do people care? And then I'm looking through my catalog, and I'm like, you know what, motherfucker? You know what, Mr. Mike motherfucker? Bioshock. Because I still keep hearing these rumors, these little glimmers of rumor talk that Bioshock, the next version of Bioshock, the next game of the Bioshock series, another game, not made by, what's his name? Oh, shoot. I had his name in my brain, and then it just left my brain. But the original creator of the Bioshock, original creator / director, Ken Levine. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's the guy that did the Bioshock games all the way through Bioshock Infinite, which he had some rockiness with, especially with Bioshock Infinite, because it was a rocky development. He wasn't the perfect, he isn't a perfect at making games, but he's like a Peter Molyneux type, but he actually gets his shit done, but it takes a long time doing it. But he left that company. He left the company. He left the Bioshock IP, and it's owned by 2K and all that. He left all that behind. And then it was dormant for a little bit, and then they were talking about how they're working on a new Bioshock game, and I heard about this, that they're working on a new Bioshock game. And then you hear from Ken Levine that he's working on his next game, which ultimately became the Judas game, which looks cool, looks interesting. It looks like a Bioshock game in its own right. And I'm like, well, Ken, I might be playing that Judas game. It looks interesting. It looks crazy like all your Bioshock games. So I might be playing that Judas game because it's like another Bioshock. But then I keep hearing whimpers in my brain. I don't know where it's coming from. I forget which news stories, but another Bioshock game is in the works. So I'm thinking, shit, another Bioshock game in the works. Then I can continue the Big Daddy Bioshock series. But then I'm thinking, wait, Mr. Mike, you got to finish Bioshock Infinite. Because then I'm thinking, well, I can play Judas even though it's not a real Bioshock game, but it's made by the creator that created Bioshock games, and it's like a Bioshock game, so I can actually put that as my official, unofficial Bioshock game, and then if they come out with the next Bioshock game, I can play that Bioshock game and play it, and I'm like thinking of all this cool stuff I can do, and then I'm like thinking, I got to finish Bioshock Infinite so I can continue on, because I have the backlogs of the full gameplays of Bioshock and Bioshock 2 on my Juju2Cast archives on OldFreakyGamer on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. You can watch all those, and they're pretty good. It's just me playing through the games. And that's what I'm going to start doing again this Friday, or last Friday as you're listening or watching this podcast. On Friday, June 26th? June 27th. Yeah, that's June 27th, Friday, that's the past for you guys. I am starting the first playthrough again, because I'm going to restart playing it again, because I want to start from the beginning, because I do have that footage from the first playthrough, and I do have the save, but I'm going to get rid of all that. I'm going to start from the beginning, because I think it's only proper and right for me to start off fresh, brand new, just like it was brand new, because I don't remember any of the mechanics. I don't remember where I was at, and I kind of know where I'm at, but I got to restart from the beginning again. The story, because I got some of that story still in my head, in my brain still, so I still remember some of it, surprisingly, but I'm going to start it fresh, and then the first episode, the first live streamed episode, because I'm not pre-taping this one, I'm streaming it live, starting tomorrow for me now, and you guys in the past, so you'll see it also next Friday. The Big Daddy Bioshock series is back with my original, because I lost a lot of my original video footage for my original starter reel, I should say, my starter video for the Big Daddy Bioshock series, so I had to recreate it in my video editor. So I was doing a little video editing project during the week of remaking the beginning and adding Bioshock Infinite to the starter video, which I think came out magnificent, because you know me, folks, I like to make interesting starter videos and stuff. So this is going to be interesting, folks. This is going to be really cool. I'm excited. I can't wait till tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Or for you guys, it's already been put out there, so you can watch it anytime. And then for you guys listening and watching this now, for the future, the next episode or the next stream of Bioshock Infinite will be this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time going forward, and I will keep playing it every Friday until I finish it, which usually it's 5-6 episodes. I usually get it done in 5 or 6 episodes, and that's 2 to 2.5 hours, give or take, of gameplay per episode. It's 2:30, 2 hours and 30 minutes of gameplay, give or take. And the episodes that I was looking at, maybe less, maybe more, depends on the days I was recording. And it always came out to be around 5 or 6 episodes. I can look again, but that's where I think it came out to. I'm thinking Bioshock Infinite might be the same. But, yeah. Yep, that's what I'm starting. That is something that I didn't think I was going to go to. I thought I was going to go to some other totally different game, and I chose Bioshock Infinite. Why not play a blast from the past, a game from my backlogs? The Big Daddy's Bioshock series with Bioshock Infinite is back on the table, folks. So, woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah! Yeah!
Knock, open up the door, it's real!
That's right! And you know what else is real, folks? The game's news, which we are going to get to now, right now. If I can figure out where it is here. Here we go. Game's news, folks. And that's going to be continuing with the show.
Locked and loaded, ready for the fight. Gang talk news, gonna set the stage alight. Mr. Mike's got the scoop, he ain't holding back. Dropping bombs the street track. Hear the thunder, feel the roar. Game talk news gonna settle the score. From E3 to PAX, they got it all. The highs and lows, ready to brawl.
Okay, there we go. You know me, I like to make a presentation. And yes, for you guys watching the video portion of this podcast, yes, I was taking a swig of that water like 3 times over because my throat is already super dry talking because I've been over the 2-hour mark. Even though these are an every week podcast, I seem to ramble on still a lot, and it still ends up over 2 hours for these podcasts. So either sorry or not sorry, you're getting more content, because that would mean if I did this every 2 weeks like this, it'd be like 4 hours of podcast material or more, or 5 if you think about it. So yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to try to make them smaller. Some days it will be smaller. Don't expect me to keep doing 2-hour podcasts of me talking. Oh boy. Especially when I don't make a damn dime for any of this podcast or videos or anything. But just for the fun, folks. Just for the fun. Anywho, more Microsoft talk. We got a lot more Microsoft talk, if you like it or not. It's not just because I'm a Microsoft Xbox fanboy, but more Microsoft talk, talking about how Microsoft begins turning everything you own into an Xbox with a new aggregated library. So Microsoft is introducing a unified library in the Xbox application for easier access to games across all devices. The goal is to merge Xbox Game Pass and more leading PC storefronts into one accessible library. Shedding exclusivity deals and expanding to multiple devices may be the correct move from Xbox in the current gaming landscape. So basically what they're doing is going forward, because they are working with making a better version of Windows with Xbox on top of it as the ice cream topping on top of that. They're basically trying to make it so they're not turning into an Apple or Google or something and not having a closed ecosystem, because they're also getting ahead of some laws and stuff that people were doing, closing their doors and not letting third parties into stuff. And they're getting ahead of that kind of bullshit because they don't want to get litigated against on that stuff. And they're also saying, well, because we're not going to be focusing on our own hardware at least 100% anymore, because nobody really buys our Xboxes anymore, because I guess the Series X and S has been a very low seller, which is sad to me because I like my Series X very much. And everybody I hear that has this Xbox Series X has loved their Series X's. So, it's just because the games weren't there, and there's nothing that, unfortunately, nothing that they have that PlayStation doesn't have. And here's another thing. The PlayStation, Sony's the PlayStation. How long is that going to be lasting for, being, we're exclusivity for this and that? They're already slowly but surely, you got Final Fantasies coming to Xbox and other platforms and stuff, and Steam and stuff like that from Square Enix, and their future stuff is coming to Xbox and stuff. But then you also got other franchises or Sony-owned franchises, which Sony is slowly putting onto Steam, because their initiative is, okay, we're selling these on our PlayStations, but we still got to make more money off these games, especially if we're making these big, still very expensive, good-looking games. We got to put them elsewhere, so they're putting them on Steam. I just got a text again about how Spider-Man 2 or 3 or whatever's on sale, whatever Spider-Man it is. I think it's 2. I don't know. I thought I owned 2. I got to look again. No, I think I got Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man, what is it? Miles Morales, that one. But it's just saying Spider-Man 2's on sale or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look at it on Steam. It just said on my quick email glance on my phone. But yeah, Sony's putting their games on Steam as well. And I'm like saying, well, there you go, guys. If Sony's going to put their games, because they've even put God of War on there, I'm hoping they put Astrobot on there eventually. I want to see. I would definitely buy Astrobot on the PlayStation Store as long as they're not charging $60 for it. Which they probably might, or they'll do $59.99 or 50 something dollars or something. If I can get Astrobot at a decent price on Steam, I will play that game because it looks really fun as a platformer. I already bought that that Ratchet and Clank, what's it called in time, whatever. I forgot what it's called. Ratchet and Clank, something or other. But I bought that on Steam. So I'm like, well, I got a bunch of PlayStation games. Those are the very few PlayStation games that I'm actually interested in. Otherwise, I think a lot of studios are starting to figure out that trying to sell it to one platform or another is not making them as much money as they used to back in the day, and the games are more expensive. So they're like, okay, even though Xbox ain't selling that much, we're still going to port games to that. We're going to still put games on this. Maybe we'll put some games on Steam if that's even a good, viable solution anymore. And frankly, I think a lot of things are opening up, and Microsoft's just getting ahead of all that, saying, hey, we'll have our Xbox store, PC Xbox store on there, or Xbox and Xbox PC store, and eventually our full catalog of games from Xbox 360, etc., on there. But we're also going to have Battle.net, which is also owned by Microsoft. We'll have Steam on there eventually. We'll have the Epic Games Store. We'll have Ubisoft. We'll have the EA stuff. They'll have more PC storefronts on that, not just Xbox only. So even though they're not making money from every storefront, unless if they got some weird deals going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, pretty much their storefront's going to be open. So if you want to buy a game from them, you can, or you can buy a game from one of the other parties that are selling these games, and you can still play them on your PC device, like I do already on my ROG Ally or my desktop PC. But I'm thinking going forward, and what other people are thinking going forward, is that their next generation console, is going to be PC-like. So basically, their next version of the Xbox will be PC compliant, meaning you will be able to play or purchase your games not just from their Xbox store for their Xbox, but you can purchase some games from these third-party stores and play them on that Xbox. So a Steam, so an Epic Games Store, so another store, and another one, and another one, and another one, and there you go. And that might just get Microsoft back into some good graces with a lot of gamers out there going, ooh, sure, Sony's selling that thing, that PS5 Pro for $500-$600, and Switch 2 is too expensive for me because it's just too expensive, or they can't find it still. But the Xbox, sure, it's like $500 or $600, give or take. I would hope it's less money, but who knows with technology nowadays. I'll just say $500. But you could play anything from anybody on that thing. I'm going to go with that thing because that's got more to it. And it's got an Xbox user interface that makes it easier for me to play and get these games from these third parties. And if I want to play with a keyboard and mouse, or I want to play with my Xbox controller, I can. That's what I'm thinking they're trying to do. They're trying to unify everything and try to get everything mixed into one. And then you can play it anywhere on a Xbox hardware, official hardware, or on your TV, or on a device like a ROG Ally, or on a device like a Stream Stick, or Google TV, or Samsung TV, or and so on and so on and so forth. Via headsets, they're trying to get it literally everywhere instead of just lockdown hardware, because that's not how the future goes. Unlike Sony and Nintendo, where they're still making some money on their platforms, and they're still locking down that hardware on their devices because they don't want to do that because they're still set in their ways, and they're Japanese. So I gotta say, them probably being Japanese and set in their ways is probably like the Japanese thing. We're still very committed and very what's the term? We're very loyal to our own selves and our brand. So we're not going to open it up for anybody. And it might come to some litigation, you know, because if Apple had a litigation about opening up their storefront and Google had litigation opening up their storefront, even though councils are kind of in their own world, if we're getting in that world where everything's opening up their platforms for other stuff, when's the time before somebody starts suing Sony and Nintendo saying, hey, you got a closed ecosystem. You got to open up your storefronts so third parties can start selling stuff in there, and they're going to go, what the fuck are you talking about? No, we make happiness here. We are Japanese. We make happiness. We do not open up storefronts for anybody. And then the people in the governments go, no, 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 you got to open up those storefronts. We made Apple do it. We made Google do it. Microsoft did it all on their own. And if Microsoft can do it, you guys got to do it too. And they're going to be like, nah. I don't know. I'm just making up a little funny scenario on that. But yes, something Microsoft's doing right on that, at least that aspect. But why are you firing so many people to do it? I don't know. So this is comments on, this is from AMD. Oh no, is this from Sarah? No, wait. This is from Lisa Sue. Oh, this is from Xbox and Lisa Sue. So a few days after we talked about how Sarah Bond and them made a little video of them saying, oh, we're multi-year. We just got signed a multi-year partnership between Xbox and AMD for first-party hardware that we're reimagining. You know, they're talking their technological bullshit, saying we're reimagining how these chips are made and how powerful they're gonna be and how everything else is gonna, you know, change, and that we're going to not just push pixels, but we're imagining what's impossible or what is possible and blah, 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 blah. You know, all the corporate jargon that they're trying to speak to the whole audience, the whole Xbox audience, and say, yeah, we're going forward. We're still making Xbox consoles, and we're going to make special chipsets with AMD and stuff like that. And Sarah Bond's all, with a big old smile, like, yeah, we're working on all this stuff. Even though the whole power game is pretty much slowly coming to an end. Let's see here. So part of the official announcement from President Sarah Bond involved news regarding next-gen devices, including consoles in your living room and in your hands, with the Xbox's first-party handheld sidelined in lieu of the Xbox Ally handheld, or I should say Xbox ROG Ally handheld. In partnership with Asus, there were some fears that it was canceled for good. So basically they're talking about their own Xbox handheld, their version, which I think might be canceled still. I don't know, unless I think Microsoft's still just going to work with Asus for a while. If they do get back into trying to making their own portable hardware, that's okay. But I think they might just work with Asus. If the whole Xbox ROG Ally works out and they sell a lot of them and Asus sells a lot of them, I'm pretty sure Asus is going to push Microsoft and go, hey, Microsoft, how about if we just become your best buds and we just make your Xbox portables going forward, and you don't have to design anything. We'll just do all the designing. You just approve it. We'll make some money together. We'll get some games sold. Come on. I think that's what's going to happen, because it's going to sell really well, or very well. Let's hope. I'll see, because I'm going to pre-order one of these babies. And people are talking about, there's no fears. Microsoft's big AMD partnership, that no longer seems to be the case. So also, after Sarah Bond talked about the whole AMD partnership, multi-year AMD partnership with AMD, of course, you know, AMD's got to talk about some shit too. They're got to be like, hey, yeah, we're partnering up with Microsoft. We're getting some more money. Yay. I do like AMD, even though they're turning into a big giant monster, and I hope they don't go down the wrong path with their stuff. I liked how they became from a little scrappy company that everybody who says they were on the verge of bankruptcy and stuff because they weren't doing so hot, and Intel was this big giant gorilla in the other corner. And then it all changed around when AMD started getting better, bigger market shares and doing better with chipsets and graphics cards. And Intel was floundering about over there, still saying, we're still big. And then all of a sudden, all the air got sucked out of Intel, and now they're barely struggling to get by. They just fired a whole bunch of engineers and people over at their place. Which, why are you firing your engineers to design and make your chips? What? What are you doing, Intel? Intel's doing really bad, and AMD's like, whoop. Which I hate to say, because Intel is an American company, but they fucked it all up, and AMD's now taking the high reins, and they're making great chips and all. And I was always an AMD person first. I had Intel stuff when I had to, like Intel Celerons and bullshit like that, back in the day when I couldn't afford shit for computers, and AMD was still not really a thing in computers out there, and they were slowly coming into the fray. But after Intel became Intel, or AMD, became AMD, and I started being able to build my own computers, I'd put AMD chips in them all the time, because not only they were good chips, they were cheaper chips. And I would rather buy a cheaper CPU than an expensive CPU that melts or gets corrupted or something happens to it. And it's been like that ever since, and I don't know if that's going to corrupt. Like I said, I don't know if AMD's going to get super corrupted by all this stuff, because now they're getting all the gaming console partnerships, because they also talked about how they're partnering up with PlayStation again. So they're getting a lot of business in and outside of their chip market, and plus they're doing these handheld chips. So AMD's going forward with a lot of stuff. And like I said, in the follow-up on June 17th, partnership announcement from Xbox, AMD released a video, of course, with their chair and CEO, Dr. Lisa Su, explaining that AMD is far from content with settling back on its existing chip lineup, because why would you? If you can sell brand new chips and stuff down the road, you make more money, right? You just don't keep the same chips coming out. You're, of course, going to make new chips, because then you make newer, faster, better chips and whatnot. You make more money because people will buy more of them. Of course, you're not going to sit. So Dr. Su was quoting and saying, moving forward, AMD will go beyond building custom chip. We'll go beyond building custom chips for Xbox consoles to designing a full roadmap of gaming optimized chips, combining the power of Ryzen and Radeon for consoles, handhelds, PCs, and the cloud. Because that's going to become a very, very big market, which I don't think Sony's going to be able to take on. I'm sorry to say. I think that's going to be a Microsoft / Nintendo thing between them. And maybe Steam. If Steam going forward and the Steam Deck going forward gets a bit more powerful and they can get some more games to be played on it. Otherwise, maybe that might go like Xbox, sort of. I don't know what the next Steam machines. The only reason we have Steam machines is because Gabe Newell hates Windows, and they hate how Microsoft handles Windows and gaming and stuff, and he just wanted something more pure, and I understand that. But if they don't got enough people, and they're not hiring any more people to get the ball rolling and making better hardware and better software to run PC games and stuff on a Steam or a new Steam machine or something like that. I don't know how that's going to move forward, but yeah, okay. So there have been warranted fears from longtime Xbox supporters regarding backwards compatibility, especially as Xbox as we know it becomes more like a PC. The Xbox Ally, or the Xbox ROG Ally as I like to call it, from Asus, after all, runs Windows 11, making it incompatible with most Xbox console games and don't support Xbox Play Anywhere. Sue puts those fears to rest in her recent video, stating that AMD is doing it all with the backwards compatibility so gamers can access their favorite titles across platforms, delivering on the promise to both gamers and developers. So basically, probably going to use something in their chipsets with AI, probably with their AI, because, everybody does AI. So Maybe they're going to do something with AMD AI and graphics and stuff and some extra stuff in the chips that will help run emulation and backwards or emulation and maybe help code work with other systems. Because technically, and this is what I never got, even though I understand there's probably like little bits of different code and stuff like an Xbox compared to a PC and stuff. Everything is basically a PC. I understand that they were using different chipsets in like, and I'm getting more emails. What's with all the emails coming right now? I'm getting a lot of emails. Sorry, folks. I'm just looking because I'm waiting for somebody to come back. But, yeah, but what was I saying? Yeah, going forward, I'm like thinking, well, I understand that there was like a power PC chip in the 360, right? But on the original Xbox, they just used like a PC hardware. They used a regular chipset, right? So the original Xbox was probably running on a regular, what was it, AMD? I think AMD was a chip that they used in the original Xbox, right? I would have to look that up. I think they used a regular AMD chip in the original Xbox. I could be wrong on it. It could have been an Intel, but I'm pretty sure maybe they went with AMD before in the early days with a chip for the Xbox. But then they went to a PowerPC chipset, their own special design for the 360. And then going forward, they went back to an x86 chip, which is in PCs now. And now they're continuing to do that. And I'm like thinking, even though that's a PowerPC chip with different coding and stuff and different code sets, I should say, and scripting and stuff, couldn't they trick it, with these new chipsets and stuff? Couldn't they trick it somehow to thinking that these are PowerPC, like run themselves like PowerPC chips in the future with the AI and all that stuff to make it like, oh, this is a PowerPC chip from your 360 or something. You could play all your Xbox games and 360 games on this. Now, no, I would also think that you would mostly have to have all these games digital, because I doubt that there's going to be many or any disk drives in anything in the future of consoles and stuff. And of course, your handhelds aren't going to have disk drives, so I can't pop in a Xbox 360 disc in my ROG Ally or anything like that. So you would hopefully have to have these games digital, but you would think it'd be easy to emulate that, like make it think it's a x86 or it's a power PC chip, and just get the coding that looks similar to that. And you would think AI could help with that. I don't know. It seems like they make it seem like it's harder than it is. But even though I'm not a coder and I don't really understand, because like there's HTML code compared to regular PC code, there's like different code sets. There's Java, there's this, and there's script, and and there's C++ and all this other stuff. And I'm like, couldn't there be a universal coding or something that accepts all coding and stuff like that? Why hasn't somebody came up with that yet? Where there's a new code base that accepts anybody's code base, and you can run anything in this one code base, and it's fully universal compatibility and stuff. I don't know. I know there could be some licensing and stuff agreements to do that, but mostly this is all Microsoft stuff anyway, so you would think they would come up with a way to do all that stuff. And I'm super interested on how they will get backwards compatibility to work on that. Because like I said, the day I can start playing Xbox games on my ROG Ally or my PC and stuff, that's going to be a good day. And especially if I, all my digital library and stuff, if I go back to something, or if I buy more games, or if I buy games from like Ubisoft or something, I want to be able to get achievements for them and stuff. I want to be able to play them on my ROG Ally or whatever. I just don't want to play them from their Ubisoft store, or buy them from the Ubisoft store or anything like that. Like I was saying, they were just having a sale for Assassin's Creed Shadows, but it was only on the Ubisoft store version. It wasn't on Xbox or anything. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why not have it on sale on everything? But it was just their side. And it's like, well, that's why you're not getting anything sold over the Ubisoft, because you're being nitpicky and you're only selling in limited markets. Why not put Assassin's Creed Shadows on everything, like Xbox, Xbox for PC, Xbox, stuff like that. They put it on Steam, That's good. That's one step closer. But why not PC Xbox? It's not going to cost you anything more. It'll cost you less because everything you sell on the PC Xbox store, they give you more money. So I don't know why they don't do that. What is up with these French people? What is up with these Japanese? What is up with people in general trying to sell things? Why are they limiting the market by artificially limiting the market instead of just putting it everywhere? I don't understand. Some of the stuff I would just love to talk with these people, get them all into a room and go, why can't you all do this? Why can't you all do that? Why is this not happening? Why is it such a problem? Why don't you try to work on that and make it work? Because then if you make it work, then you get more stuff sold and people like me will want to buy that stuff. I don't know. Just thinking outside the box. Also talking about backwards compatibility or playing back older games or classic games. Xbox is also looking into bringing back classic games to the games to Game Pass and Game Pass with enhancements. So Phil Spencer, now the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, has previously stated his desire to revive classic games, including Blizzard Entertainment, that are available under the Xbox portfolio. So games that normally can't run on a lot of systems. So he wants to make it so... Oh, there we go. We're getting more stuff. And still more emails. A lot of emails. What's with all these emails? It's all from DeBellos, too. I bought some subs today, and now I'm getting, this is my 5th DeBellos sub email. Why did they send me 12 DeBellos, 5 DeBellos sub emails? That's crazy. Too many emails. I love it that you want to give me some more free cookies, but too many emails. Sorry. Back to the story, folks. That's what I get for having my phone on when I'm doing a podcast. While this may mean a revival and modern releases of beloved franchises like StarCraft, it can mean something entirely different, such as re-releasing older classic games with modern enhancements, just like they did with the shadow drop of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. That was cool. They could do that with those games and put achievements on them, of course. Game Rant reported last month that Xbox emulator is being developed for Windows. They also reported that Xbox had a job posting in May of 2025, which I did report on, that would only involve building the next evolution in Xbox game compatibility, but also help secure the future of game preservation. Your work will help identify and outline the specific requirements and security boundaries for protecting game content, build scalable emulation solutions, and ensure a safe and fun gameplay experience for all players. The posting stated, our technology solutions are a critical part of enabling the Xbox goal of allowing players to experience their games on any device. The role is responsible for helping implement an Xbox backwards compatibility game security system and work alongside other experienced emulation engineers that will both protect the game content and also improve the experience of installing compatible games, as well as helping to emulate older classic games on modern platforms. Basically, like I was just talking about, software code that tricks games into working in new versions of Windows and Xbox and not worrying about what platform they're going on, but also protecting the security. They talk about protecting the content, meaning keeping the content from being able to be taken and played for free, behind their paywall. They want people to pay for their stuff, so they're making it like a basic security thing. And then, of course, I'm looking at this, which, how did this get moved? My picture got moved on this. But, yes, so Xbox is, aka Microsoft, is doing, it seems like they're doing a lot, even though they're laying off a bunch more people. It seems like they're getting into doing a lot with trying to get Xbox everywhere and people to be able to play their games from even the early days of Xbox into the nowadays of Xbox, which Sony isn't doing. Nintendo barely does as well, because Nintendo only goes like a couple systems and then they pretty much want you to rebuy all those games again or remasters or whatever again. So even Nintendo isn't really backwards compatible. They're backwards compatible with a few systems. Like, I think it was from GameCube. Wait, you couldn't play GameCube games in your Wii U, could you? I don't remember. I thought they took that out. Like, they said, no, you can play them in your Wii, but you can't play them in your Wii U. I forgot if you're allowed to. I'd have to look that up, but maybe not. But like I said, it was only for those few consoles, and then it stopped. And then you went to the Switch because they went back to the cartridges, but they went to mini cartridges. And then going forward, you know, who knows about Switch 3.0 or 4.0 or something like that. Those will probably not be backwards compatible unless if they're digital, which I think that might be Nintendo's future if they're going to go all digital with these titles, and all of these titles are being attached to your account going forward like they're doing now with them digitally attached to your account, which means, going forward to newer systems, these licenses and these games could be played on future systems, which that would be a start for Nintendo. But Sony has not really done that. They'd done it with the PS3 at one point where they had that all backwards compatible PS3, remember? Where it was like you could play your PS1, PS2 games all on the PS3, and then they gave that up after a little while because they didn't want to make the extra chipsets for it. And then when the PS4 came out, we were all thinking they were going to do backwards compatibility. No, they didn't talk about that. And then I get, whatever his name was of Sony at the time said, nah, we don't care about backwards compatibility. Nobody wants to play those old games. And then going forward from there, then you got the PS5 and everybody was, all the Sony PlayStation fanboys and girls were saying, they're going to do backwards compatibility with PS5 and PS5 Pro. And it's like, no, they do some stuff with PlayStation Plus and stuff, but that's not backwards compatibility. That ain't really doing much with that. No. So they never really did anything with the promise of that stuff. So going forward, Microsoft is the only people, unless if you want to consider like GOG or Steam in a way, doing backwards compatibility, but that's not even really them doing backwards compatibility. That's just them trying to keep the software up. And I think even third parties have to do that with like stuff with Steam and stuff where they, like what EA did with the Red Command and Conquer series, where they just put them all on there and they're all working now, which I can play them all on my PC now because they made them backwards compatible and stuff with some emulation and stuff like that. And those are all on Steam and you can buy them and play them. All those games you buy on Steam should be playable going forward. And since the day they started Steam, they said, hey, going forward, you can play all these games on all your PCs going forward. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of backwards compatibility for that, which is great. Because when you used to buy software, like I got a lot of old games that I can't play on my new system because those were 32-bit games, and a lot of those 32-bit games can't play on a 64-bit computer because of chipsets and stuff and codes and scripting architecture and technical stuff like that. And it's like, well, Microsoft is the only company that's basically doing this. And it's surprising that even they're doing something this cool and that you could play tons of games from their whole catalog going back and trying to get as many third-party games on there as possible for backwards compatibility going forward. It's still funny to see that a lot of people just focus more on, I want the best 4K, 240 hertz graphics, blah, 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 blah. It's remarkable on how that is. And I'm not one of those people. Sure, I would love to have 4K, 120, 240 hertz games and stuff. Sure, if my TV doesn't go up to that, I don't think. My monitors here, I think they do HDR, but because I have two of them, they turn off HDR on my monitors, I think, and I don't really care. I know it's better blacks and stuff, but my games, everything still looks better on these monitors. So I'm not the one to look at it like that. These aren't even 4K monitors either. They're just whatever, 1080p monitors or whatever. They're a little higher res than 1080p monitors, but I don't care. It's not, if it's in, the technology's in the thing, okay, I'll use it, but otherwise, if I don't, I don't. I just want to play a good game. I want to watch a good movie. I don't care about all this bullshit. If it makes this stuff look better and stuff and I have it, okay. If I don't, well, then I don't have it. As long as I can still play it. You know what I mean? People get too caught up in that shit. Let's see here. I think... Let's see. I'm trying to look. Yeah, we'll go through a couple more news stories here. ROG Ally Xbox or ROG Xbox Ally or Xbox ROG Ally and Ally X pre-orders, release dates, and pricing details leak early. But note, this is with a grain of salt. We don't know if this is for sure until they announce it. So some reports have revealed early details of the ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X handhelds, including pre-order dates, launch window, and pricing. According to Xbox, both the Ally and the more powerful Ally X are planned to release during the holiday of 2025 season. And while the announcement was pretty exciting, there were still plenty of questions on how much these handhelds would cost. I kind of figured what they would cost, but I'm going to say, I already said what they cost. If you listen to my older podcast, you know what I was saying on the pricing, and you're going to be shocked on how right I am on this, maybe. But this is still grain of salt pricing here. This isn't official news. This is just grain of salt, rumors on the vine news here, folks, just letting you guys know this. So according to a leak, fans eager to reserve their ROG Xbox Ally, or I should just say Xbox ROG Ally, or Ally X, won't have wait too long, as pre-orders for both handhelds are said to be set to open in this August of 2025, so end of the summer pretty much, so August, okay, so this August. If you were hoping to actually get your hands on one, the official launch is expected to follow in October. So August, September, October. So that's when you'll be picking yours up. That's when you can get it in October, but you can pre-order in August. So I'm definitely going to pre-order mine in August, of course. With sources suggesting it'll likely land in the second half of the month. So end of October, they're thinking. As for how much these new handhelds will cost, the leak details pointed at around $599 price tag for the standard ROG Ally Xbox or ROG Xbox Ally, and $899 for the higher end Ally X. And these are European prices, just to let you know, guys. These are the European, or €599 or €899 for the highest end Ally X in Europe. For us US Americans, the pricing is expected to be slightly lower, coming in around $500 for the regular model and $800 for the Ally X, which I'm just going to say right here, folks, I know $800 for an Ally X is probably very expensive, especially for a handheld, but you're going to want to go with the Ally X, trust me. With the chipsets that are going to be in there, with the Extreme 2 chipsets and the amount of memory, you're going to want to go with the Ally X, because you'll have some power in the regular Ally and the original, or the ROG Xbox Ally, the $499 version or $500 version, but it's going to lack in, hold on one second. Hold on. Okay, folks, where was I? I was ending up on this. I just got a call from my ex and stuff. Yeah, I got some interesting troubles that I have to take care of. So I'm going to have to quit this podcast a bit earlier than I thought here. So, because I got to get on to working on some car troubles with somebody and flat tires and such. And but let's see here. We'll get through the last things that I want to talk about. So I'm just going to go through quick points here. So apparently some third-party Nintendo Switch publishers, two publishers, are not too happy about the Switch 2 sales for their games. So you got that going on. With that, don't know what to say about that. A lot of these games have been out there selling on all these other platforms for a long time now. A lot of these games also have been selling on other platforms. And a lot of people that buy games, or if they're buying a more expensive system like the Switch 2 and getting an $80 Mario Kart, probably most likely not going to be spending another 70, 80 bucks or 79 or 69, 70. I don't know what these prices are on half these things, but they're not spending more money on more games like these third-party games, especially if they're full-price games and such. Especially if they're on these shitty fake, not I shouldn't say shitty, but the fake cards, the game cards, which most of them are on. So I'm guessing a lot of them aren't as selling as much as possible. I bet you Cyberpunk 2077 sold probably pretty well, I hear. Maybe Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, even though I did see a bunch of them. It was only like $39, though, for Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. That was pretty interesting and cheap. But also, that was just the game key card, so you had to purchase the whole... You would have to get that and download the whole game to your Switch. So that's one thing, one problem that a lot of people are probably going to start having with Switch 2s and stuff like that going forward is storage. Because they only come with, 512 gigabytes of storage on the Switch 2, which I think the Switch 2 should have had a terabyte of storage going forward. I'm just saying, it's if most of these games are going to be if most of these games are going to be digital game cards and none of them are going to, and most of them aren't going to be physical games on the cards, then yes, it's going to be like that. Donkey Kong Bonanza is getting an amiibo, which I just pre-ordered, and it's available now to pre-order, which I just pre-ordered it. It's coming out alongside the game on July 17th, and the amiibo is going to be $29.99 or $30. It's got Donkey Kong and young what do you call her? Pauline? Not Pauline. Man, I can't even think right now. Yeah, Pauline. It's going to have her on it. Yeah, Pauline. It's going to do some stuff in the game. You can also use third-party or amiibos in the game. And the amiibo looks pretty cool. A lot of people are complaining on, what, they're charging $30 for an amiibo? I'm like, yeah, stuff is more expensive, people. And two, $30. What am I saying about $30? I don't think $30 is too much for amiibo like that. I think it looks cool, especially when you pay $30 or more for Funko Pops and other stuff. So why are people complaining? I don't know. It's just people are complaining because they're like, it used to be $10, $15. Yeah, but that was before. It's now. Before now. People don't understand about stuff. This is always, amiibos were always more expensive. I spent like $50, $60 on that what do you call it, amiibo for the Legend of Zelda amiibo for the monster thingy. I forgot what it's called, the machine monster. Yeah, I spent a lot for that one. So obviously amiibos are going to be expensive. And finally, in my final news story, because I'm not even going to talk about Gamez I, because we all know how shit that is, and unfortunately they're laying off some people, but let's just say that's the news for that. But Cyberpunk's 2077's next big update, update 2.3, has been delayed until the team is happy with it. But CD Projekt teases it's aiming for something as impressive as update 2.2. So yes, there's gonna be. They want to make that update good. They thought they were done, but they're not, and they just want to finish up a few things, and they're not going to release this update until it's fully patched and finished and working, and people are going to be blown away by the final patch update for Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm like, cool, because I played a little bit on my PC, and I thought it was looking and running pretty cool. So I'm like, yeah, when the update comes, I'll be maybe playing some more of that on my PC or Xbox. I still got the Xbox version, so I don't know. I don't know, George. It all seems pretty cool to me. Games, people, games. So that's the games news. Sorry for rushing through the rest of it, but I got to get the hell out of here because I think I got to go help somebody out with a flat tire if they don't know how to call AAA. Even though they paid all that money for AAA, and just like me, oh well. Anyways, folks, thank you for joining me. Like I said, every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, there will be a game stream on the network, on YouTube Live or Twitch.tv at OldFreakyGamer, or you could go to OldFreakyGamer.com to watch the live streams. Like I said, it's the Big Daddy Bioshock series. I am playing Bioshock Infinite going forward. This Wednesday, I will have Crime Scene Cleaner as a Let's Play for Wednesday. So if you guys are interested in watching me play Crime Scene Cleaner, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to watch, but it's pretty fun to play too. Go figure. But I loved Power Washing Simulator too. So, it's like that, but with cleaning. Go figure. And we'll see about other stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on for the next week and so. And I will have more podcasts going up and stuff. And when's the 4th of July? Yeah, the 4th of July is next week as well. So, or this week as you're listening to this podcast. So it's this Friday. So I will still be having the stream. I will be having a live stream. I will not be going to see fireworks. My fireworks will be here playing video games. So yeah, I decided I'm going to stay home and play video games while people are blowing off firecrackers elsewhere. So until next time, folks, thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel over at youtube.com/oldfreakygamer-2023. Please visit my website at oldfreakygamer.com. Email me any comments or questions, or post them on the YouTube video below this podcast, or, email me at oldfreakygamer@gmail.com, or you can tweet me on Twitter X at oldfreakygamer, or go on my BlueSky. Just search OldFreakyGamer on BlueSky and sign up for that. Let your family, friends, people know about this podcast because, even though I do this as a hobby, I don't make no money of it. I want more people to listen. I want more people to be in the know, and comment back. I like to talk and listen to other people and gaming things, talk like that. Any questions, comments, stuff like that. I am always available for that stuff. So thank you, folks, for joining me. Until next time, folks, I'm Mr. Mike. This has been the GamezAttack Podcast, episode 63. I am out of here.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just step it up. Don't be scared.
Nintendo.
Family computer.
Dude, go fuck yourself.
Game over.